We're going to get started in a few seconds. Just bear with us. There we go. Mubarak's here. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let's make sure I'm ready, actually. What am I looking for? Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Remember, right? Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the R2F show. We're going to get right into it. You guys, if you're watching, you already know who we are and you already know what we do. So, bismillah. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to let Amr give some updates or some information related to some questions we've been getting related to comments and different things on our YouTube channel.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the R2F show this week. So we had some questions about like comments on YouTube and why certain comments are deleted or not, and are we leaving comments off of the page because we're like we don't want to see negative comments. We want to boost our like this. We want good stuff. No. So for YouTube comments, you can't leave certain things. Certain things you can leave. And so I will go to a quick breakdown of that real quick. I'm sharing my screen to the R2F page. Okay, so just a quick rundown, right? There's certain things you can't say on YouTube, right? You can't send threats. You can't be like, brother, I kill you. But like you just can't say like certain things like that. And you can't send like information that is like personal, be it like contact information, all that stuff, right? So on YouTube, you can't like put like your email address in YouTube comments. You can't be like, oh, I am so at gmail.com, right? So YouTube stops this because they want to prevent kids from being abducted, right? The biggest platform user is kids, right? So all the kid videos have billions of views, so that's why. So you can't just leave certain things. Also, if you're gonna like say stuff about Jafar Mubarak, we don't really care. I'm kind of all for it, honestly. You can do whatever, but you can't like leave bad comments about like the sisters who come on the show, right? So we had Zainab said something about Sister Tahara, which is we're probably going to leave that comment. Like that's just not something we want to have for the people who come on the show. They're very brave. So that like if it comes at the girls, we're gonna probably delete it. But for us, we really don't care. So just try to remain respectful in the comment sections. You can just read with us. You can say, hey, well, this is wrong, that is wrong. I don't want to read this. Don't care. But like just try to be wary of that. Like YouTube has their own code of conduct, so we generally don't just go out and like, oh well, okay, see. Someone said this, and I'm gonna go to the comment and delete it. Like that's not what we're doing. So just so you know, that's not us, and we really don't do that.
Okay. All right, shukran for that, Amr. Let me pull my show outline just to. So next, we're going to turn it over to Mubarak, who's going to give us our opening reminder, inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد قال تعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أليس الله بكاف عبده ويخوفونك بالذين من دونه ومن يضلل الله فما له من هاد ومن يهد الله فما له من مضل أليس الله بعزيز ذي انتقام. Allah says in Surah Zumar that is Allah not enough. Is Allah not enough for His servants? Is Allah not enough for His servants? And as a reminder for this is that the people they become fearful of other people. وَيُخَوِّفُونَكَ مِن دُونِهِ وَيُخَوِّفُونَكَ الَّذِينَ مِن دُونِهِ, that people try to scare you with people besides Allah. And Allah is saying, is Allah not enough for His servants? Why are we mentioning this? It's because of how the people, when they know what's right and what's wrong, they see the shirk very clearly. They see the abuses, they see the things, and they want out. They don't want to have to deal with it anymore, but they say, well, if I say something, if I say, hey, this is not according to Islam, this is not according to the Quran, the Sunnah, then my husband or wife will divorce me. They will separate me from my family. These are real issues. They will separate me from my family. I will lose my home. I will lose my social networks. I will lose this, that, and other. And Allah is saying that they will try to scare you with things other than Allah. And Allah is saying that He is sufficient for you. Allah is sufficient for His slaves. You know what is right. You know that you shouldn't be part of one group or another. You know that you should be speaking out. If you know this, then Allah is enough for you. What you should do is say what is right, do what is right, and know that there may be some tests to come with it, but Allah is sufficient for those people who, for His servants. And Allah says that whoever Allah misguides, then there's no one that can guide them. And whoever Allah allows to be guided to right, then there's no one that can guide them the wrong way. We hear it all the time, but this is the time to put it into action. You can't listen to this every week at Jum'ah. If we go to Jum'ah, some people, they don't go to Jum'ah, but yes, every Jum'ah you will be reminded of this. And the thing is, it's time to act on that now. Allah is enough for you. Allah will be sufficient for you when you take those steps. So may Allah allow us to continue on this path. And for those people who are thinking about, pondering on, they know they should, it's the time now. Take those steps. Allah is sufficient for you. He will be there for you. And if Allah has chosen you as one of the people to be guided away from falsehood and into the light of the Quran and Sunnah, then no one will be able to stop you from it. But if you're one of those people who are going to be stuck in the darkness of falsehood and following make believe and made up things, then it doesn't matter what we say or how many other people say it, you'll never find the way. So for those people who are on the edge, and for those people who are stuck there, they're between, not in the group, shunned by the group, and other things for defending or not defending, look at what you've done to yourself. Look at what you've done to yourself. So heed the words of Allah. Allah is saying He's enough for you, and surely He is. Take the initiative, take the steps, and leave the rest on Allah. Whoever fears Allah and relies upon Allah, He will make a way out for them. So may Allah allow us to act on these reminders that come from Allah and receive the benefit that is surely to come if we do what is pleasing to Allah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Tafaddal Sheikh.
All right, so assalamu alaikum. So today's show is a very special show, and we're actually going to go into some overtime to deal with this situation. I just now looked up, online, you can go do the days since, right? And it does a calculation how many days it's been since something happened. So February, I believe it was February 2nd. Yes, February 2nd, 2018 was the first time that officially the leaders of TMOA were asked questions about the whole Risala Ruhi and the Seven Sultan belief. And we've been talking about an R2F show for a while, or just R2F group, about like posting reminders to them, like how many days it's been since no one's been able to respond to the question or the challenge to actually explain or defend this belief with the Quran and the Sunnah. And today actually is exactly 1,500 days since anybody's been able to give any answer about the Seven Sultans. 1,500 days today on this show. This is what the show's about, because the challenge is still there for anybody, whether it's publicly or privately, to defend your belief. The whole thing that the TMOA is built on is this belief of the Seven Sultans, and it's still outstanding, and no one will ever be able to answer that challenge. We stand by that. For instance, recently in one of the shows we did, we talked about Dr. McStuffins, or Dr. He's not a real doctor, so I'm gonna stop saying that. Mr. Wadud, who was a doctor imposter. He issued us a message saying that he will not respond to it, and which is another way of saying that he cannot respond to it. So recently, and if you're anybody from TMOA or if you've been connected to R2F, you know that someone named Akil William Reed, again, Akil William Reed, again, his name is Akil William Reed.
From the Islamic Studies Guild.
From the Islamic Studies Guild.
A teacher of sorts.
Issued a document called The Proof of the Seven Sultans. And it was sent around the Jamaat. It was sent to us. And this show is going to be all about that document and our brief engagements with Brother Akil or William Reed. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Akil William Reed. You're most likely watching.
Hope all's well. Hope all's well, Mr. Reed.
Sorry, kids are interrupting. Already getting a roll on. But anyway, so this is what we're going to talk about during the show. I just want to remind everybody to get your questions ready, because I'm sure after you hear some of this stuff, you'll have a lot of questions. Okay, so we're going to kind of get right into it. If you don't think you'll remember your question, go ahead and just post it in one of the chats, and we'll try to address them as best we can when we get to that point. So be in store for a long one. You might want to get your popcorn, get something to drink. We're going to kind of just go right into this and debunk the silliness that Akil William Reed put out in this defense for the Seven Sultans. So if anybody, we're not going to post a document. We're not going to show that, but we issued a publication that we will be putting on our website that anybody can access that goes into great detail into a lot of this stuff. But we're gonna do pretty much like a broad analysis of what's going on, but it's gonna take a long time. But we want to point out some important things to everybody so that you can see just the mindset of these cult members, or even people that are apologetic or ex-cult members that still believe in this nonsense. And we're going to show the nonsense of really this whole idea of the Seven Sultans. So the first section, and we broke it down into sections. I forget how many pages the actual document was, but the first section is basically like he gives like an opening of like
7 pages.
Yeah, seven pages of pure nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But he opens up with salams, and the first issue, and you guys just jump in whenever you get a chance. The first issue, notably, is that this document, when it was first issued, actually did not list the author. No one claimed this. Just some random dude supposedly wrote this up, and it was being pushed out there as a scholar from outside of TMOA has provided proof of the Seven Sultans. And specifically, the brother in his document says, Khalifa Hussein Abdullah asked me to send him information pertaining to the valid proof of the Sultan al-Faqr, or the Seven Sultans. This is information from one of the classes on Aqidah, Iman, is in Islam, that we teach in the Islamic Study Guild. I hope that this evidence and proofs will make things clear for people. So right here, just a lot of questions should pop up in people that are critical thinkers, right? And I'm sorry, Hussein Abdullah, I love you, but you have to hear these hard truths. Why are you at a Talib of Mubarak Jilani for over 40 years or more, at this stage in your life, now asking for someone to provide you proof of your sheikh, of the beliefs that your sheikhs allegedly taught you? Why, after 40 years, are you asking for proof?
You should know more than anyone, because this is who you follow. This is who you choose. Like, this isn't like your son or any of us who were born in the Jamaat. You chose to follow him way back when. So if you choose to follow him now, you should know all about him. Because before I make a decision, I learn all about that stuff before I go into it. So
let's ask the question. I mean, if you didn't follow him based on the proof you had, what was the reason you followed him? Because to this day, 40 years later, you don't have the proof. You got to find someone outside of the Jamaat to even get some. He don't even believe in him, but you're looking for someone to find some proof. So you didn't join up based on this proof, what the whole thing is based on, nor did you remain on it based on this proof, because you don't have it. You never had it, which means none of your family had it, which means none of people you were leading had it, because you were the leader. So whoever you were leading at any time, they never had it. So no one ever had any proof. None. But let's give them some props, some credit for actually asking, for actually looking for some proof, because I haven't heard anyone actually like try to look for some proof. If they happen to like see some alleged proof on somebody's WhatsApp status or something, they're like, yeah, let's forward it. But they don't go looking for it. So I mean, in at least in your little circle, I mean, you got a one up on everyone else. So at least you look for proof secretly, privately, from a person who didn't even want no one to know that you gave them some proof of something that allegedly is supposed to get you closer to Allah. Why is it a secret? Because it's falsehood.
It's like I said, I think earlier this week, I said that the old heads have secret knowledge, that Jelani has secret knowledge. So like what are we doing here?
Just keep it going. It's going to go for more and more generations.
Yep.
And then the fact that like it shows a lot of things too. Like, for instance, we know that there's like a standard order or a standing order in TMOA that no one's allowed to engage with us. No one's allowed to even try to defend the seven sultans. No one's allowed to even talk about it. And one thing that we're going to keep on stressing is that, and I hope people realize this, is that because of the work of R2F, alhamdulillah, of course, Allah put us in a position to speak out against these things. But whereas even within a couple of years ago, people that even hinted at not believing in the seven sultans, people that even questioned it, were kicked out of the group. But now it's supposedly acceptable to not believe in the seven sultans, and you can still be in the Jamaat just as long as you don't verbally express it. You don't publicly say it. This should be a sign, and we're gonna do more talking on this at a different date, but this is a clear sign, if you can work out the contradictions in your head, that if you're one of these people that are like, yeah, I'm part of TMOA, and I don't really follow the seven sultans, I don't believe in that part of it, you have to work out the contradiction that you are saying right now that you are following something that you don't believe in. Because the whole reason why TMOA exists, the whole reason why people follow Mubarak Jelani is because he's allegedly this great six sultan figure, which doesn't exist. So Hussein Abdullah, you know, I used to be close to you. I used to be close to your family. You used to think highly of me. I don't know what you think of me now. You always used to claim, oh, that kid's a genius. That kid's smart. He's so responsible, yada, yada, yada. All these different things you used to say about me. I'm asking you to take a chance of just looking towards some truth, hearing what has to be said, because this is clearly that you actually don't understand your own beliefs. You're the first Talib in TMOA, allegedly, or one of the first. Out of anybody, people should be coming to you and say, hey, tell me about the seven sultans. Not only does it show that you followed somebody based off of nothing, it also shows that he didn't teach you anything. So just think about that. And we will always be here for anybody that has questions and wants to engage in whatever. Like, our whole goal is to try to guide people. But we'll move on. But we can go deeper into this, but we're going to move on to the next section. So in the next section, he goes right into Wahi and Ilham. And right now, I just got to say, like, for people, you got to be a critical thinker. You got to have aql, or you have to be an aqil. You have to think. If I'm providing proof of the seven sultans, right, I'm immediately going to start talking about the proof for the seven sultans. Mm-hmm. Right now, like, for instance, if I'm having a debate with Amr and Mubarak about, you know, Dwayne Wade is the best basketball player of all time, right? And I was like, I'm going to prove it.
No, you're
and
not.
then I start my argument with, back in 1953, my father used to play basketball in South Carolina. right now they're gonna know right off the top, oh, this guy's about to try to spin us for a loop. He's about to take us for a ride and not have any real support for what he's about to say. So he goes right into Wahi and Ilham, and in our publication we go in depth to try to give people a correct understanding of Wahi and Ilham, but it really boils down to like real basic concepts. Yes, it's in Islam there's Wahi, which is when we're talking about generally Wahi in Islamic context, we're talking about revelation to prophets. And we're in Ilham is pretty much inspiration to non-prophets. Okay. Do not let people mix up the two concepts. Do not let people change up the wordings and the definitions and the translations to make you think that somehow Ilham and Wahi is like the same thing or on an equivalent basis. It's not. And if anybody comes to you and says, I have Ilham, or I had a dream, or I had inspiration, or whatever they're telling you, this is how you could tell whether it is true or not. You see if it's supported or in line with the Holy Quran and Sunnah. That's it. Very simple test. They can have a dream of the nicest dream in the world. I seen Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He looked like this. Describe him perfectly. Describe all these different things. And you're like, wow, wow, wow. And at the end, he says, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told me to go commit zina. Oh, okay, yeah. He's lying or jinns are messing with him. That's the only two options.
Oh, Jelani, not picking never.
So just keep that in mind. But it's real obvious that where he's trying to go with this, and we'll see where he ends up going with this at the end. But this is where for seasoned people that are students, not even Islamic students, just regular students, right? You can easily Google's is a powerful and dangerous tool, right? It could provide a lot of information. But a constant theme of this whole document is that this whole section of Wahi and Ilham, he copied and pasted it.
Mm-hmm.
And where did he copy him? The whole document, yeah. But this section in particular, where did he copy it from? The biggest Shiite website on the internet. The number one Shiite website on the internet.
He's always like, this is a great source.
The thing is, it was probably the first the first link that popped up.
Yeah.
Probably whatever you typed in, that was the first link, because they usually pay. That site, a lot of times they pay to be at the top. Like those sites that are always at the top, they actually pay to be there. So literally typed in first one that came up, clicked on it, cut and pasted it and threw it in there. This is who
exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah. This was the scholar. By the time we get done with this, the one thing, if you don't know anything else, you'll know that whoever wrote this ain't no scholar. They're not a scholar. And
this Islamic Study Guild that he's part of that's teaching classes, if you are attending their Aqidah and Iman classes,
get out right.
Yes. Take a withdrawal, drop the class, and go somewhere else.
One of the two.
Then you got to go to the bathroom and just
never come back. Yep.
Just go ahead and keep on going.
I am going out of here.
and just so the viewers know, just so you stay away from this, whenever you're like, sometimes you like search in like a different Islamic topic, usually the first one that pops up, like Mubarak said, is islam.org.
Yep.
That is that's the number one Shiite website. It's usually the first result on all your searches. You have to know, like, I ain't going there because it's
they paid it, and they pay to be there. That's the thing. So if you gotta pay, you're paying to be there, then that should tell you something. But the fact that you don't even know. So let's break this down a little bit further. Either you don't know what the site you even plagiarized it from. You're not even aware what their aqidah is, who they're like. You might, oh well, this name sounds like an Islamic Muslim name. You don't know the biggest Shiite in the daggone hemisphere. You know what I mean? The biggest Shiite website. So I mean, is that where you get your proof from? The Shia?
Apparently.
I mean, wow. So either you didn't know, or you knew and you said, this is our proof from the Shia. So therefore, let me ask these people in TMOA. First of all, your first talib your oldest or whatever, one of your leaders, doesn't have any proof, hadn't had any proof for 40 years. Now he's looking for something in 2022 because that joint is copyright 2022. He copyrighted that joint. So we know this document was produced and copyrighted 2022. So 42 years later, he's finally getting around to looking. And the one you got to look, Googled, copied and pasted from the first site he saw was the biggest Shiite site in the world. Now, either he didn't know it was a Shiite site. How is he a scholar and he doesn't realize that this is Shiite? The scholars there, the teachers, the ulama there are Shiite. I know that. I'm not a scholar. I know straight up that joint is a Shiite site. Why? Because we've all done research. And when you do research, you automatically know this is the Shiite site. You need to find a reputable one.
Yeah.
But obviously he didn't know that, which, hey, a lot of people don't know that. When I first started trying to do Islamic research and studying or whatever, I used to see that site and be like, oh, let me check this joint out. When I started reading on it, like, this joint is kind of wild. The Shiite joint.
Yep.
So it proves that either one or two things. It can't be a third. It's one or two things. He didn't know, which means he ain't a scholar. Mm-hmm. Or he did know and he feels like that's the strongest source because that's what he started with. There are plenty of sources that talk about ilham, wahi, whatever you want it. Or he's lazy. Maybe it's third. Maybe just really lazy and didn't care. All three of them disqualify him from being a scholar, unless he's a Shiite scholar. And TMOI people, are y'all Shiites? Is that what you are?
Yeah.
So
I remember one of my old companions used to be very hype about one of these Muslim rap guys or something. I don't listen to that stuff. I don't remember the name or whatever, but there was a line. I don't even know who it was, but one of the lines, and he was really hype about this line. The verse was, like, Muslims think I'm Shiite and Shiites think I'm something. And he was like so hype over it. I was like, why would you be hype over anybody thinking you're a Shiite? Like what, but that's the concept they have, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and I know one of the arguments that comes back about this, and don't get me wrong, like for things like this, there's nothing wrong in this context of someone asks you for information, you're going to provide it, of just copying and pasting, because as long as you're copying and pasting from an authentic source, like why remake the wheel? There's like Mubarak said, there's plenty of Sunni sources that have written lots of books and contexts about ilham and wahi. If someone asked me, I would go right to those Sunni acceptable sources. Yeah. Maybe a couple of them, copy and paste them so people have the very nuances between different perspectives, and that's it. I'm not going to remake the wheel unless I'm doing a report for like college or something. Then I'm going to put stuff in my own words and do all that. But again, he and it also shows, and it kind of also ties back to Hussein Abdullah, is that you actually weren't looking for the truth. You were just looking for whatever you already believed and looking for whatever source that supported what you already believed, which is not how Muslims should do things. You have to go in understanding, like, what there's a quote by, I think it's Imam Shafi, like, I believe I'm right with the possibility of me being wrong. You have to go into things like that. Like, okay, I may be wrong about my stance. Let's see what the evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah say.
So, and if we can even dig down a little bit deeper, I'm looking at the proof. It shouldn't be.
Well, it is a proof. It is a proof of something. Really, it is a proof. It is a proof. So, not of what he wanted, but it's a proof.
So now that we are certain, and you guys at home, you can double check this yourselves, run it through a fact check or whatever. Type in wahi, ilham, any sort of keywords, and go to that Islam.org site or whatever, and you will find this word for word. But what's even the cherry on top of how you know this person is not a scholar is because in scholarship, there's a certain level of integrity in which when you use someone else's work, like Jafar said, we all will do it. If someone has already provided these sources or whatever, you take them and use them, and then you credit the person or the place that you got it from. I don't see any I mean, is there a works cited page on this
There is
thing?
not a works cited page on here. There's no footnotes. There is no quotes. There is no, I got this from this. I got it from Islam.org. There's no, this is from the Quran. It just says copy paste.
Okay, so we can double back. We can double back on something. So Hussein Abdallah, he took you for a fool. He took you for a fool because he didn't cite anything. And so, like, listen, if somebody is going to send me a document with proofs of something, send it to me, and they expect me to take it up and like really like use it, they're going to provide the sources so that you can check them. That's the whole thing about scholarship, is about sources and using them. And so people can confirm or check your work. So the man didn't even provide any. First of all, he used wax sources. Now, number one, he plagiarized. He didn't credit those people, and he didn't even provide you with anything. Like, doesn't even think you're smart enough to realize there's no works cited page. There's no sources listed. He doesn't think you can use Google because that's all he did. He doesn't think you can use a computer. I mean, wow, this is actually, I mean, you might want to like have a talk with him next time y'all see, like, yo, you really took me for a fool, because this is the way I would feel. Someone send me this talking about this is proof. I'm like, what? First of all, you plagiarized. You copy and pasted. You didn't credit the people you took it from. You took it from a Shia source that was easily to be found. No works cited page, nothing. Playing y'all.
Especially if I pay for it too. Like, if I pay for this and this is what you give me, I'm listening. I'm gonna freaking sue you. All right, like
this. It took him 7.5 hours to copy and paste all this stuff. 7.5 hours. We know when you started the document. We know when you finished it. 7.5 hours. Like, and people ask questions all the time, like, "Hey, you guys know anything about this?" And like, sometimes we're not like in a position like I'm going to give you the answer, but here's an answer that was provided by so and so. Here's the link. Go read it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you could have done that. Hey, yeah, this is on the Shiite website. Go look. And he might have been like, "Hey, wait, what? Shiite website?" Or he might have been cool with it. I don't know.
Yeah, when I was in when we were in college, I don't know if it was someone in my university or it was a story that was going around the university, but someone had actually, in one of their papers, they had literally Googled and found an entire paper, an essay, and submitted it. It was a fifth grader, and we're in college now. This is university. It was a fifth grader's paper or whatever. It, like, word for word, just took it. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if this is actually the whole document is someone else's work. Like, the whole thing, start to finish, is probably someone else's, and it was just like, oh, I'm just going to use a sentence. No name. We know
which parts aren't his. We know which parts weren't copied and pasted because he took all this copy and pasted and stuff, and then added his own add-on to Risala Ruhi.
Yeah,
that's because just so y'all know, we know that we've tracked down the sources, the exact sources. Like, he even copied and pasted typos, like just typos. Like, even when you put in a word, there's a red. You guys know this. A red underline will go under the word, like, "Hey, this ain't correct." You could have did spell checker on it at least, something. But 80% of this document is copied and pasted.
I mean, he didn't even take the time to even check it for spelling, for error, grammars, or nothing. Literally sent you some trash.
I guarantee you he hasn't read this one time. I guarantee you.
So you're like, looking
Control V.
So we can't let this get out of sight. Mm-hmm. This man, K1, he's looking for proof. His literally 40 plus years of his life, he's dedicated to this. He's looking for some proof, some hope in his akhirah to confirm what he's doing. And someone literally cut, pasted, Googled some trash together and slung it at him. I mean, you could have saved yourself the time and just asked us, where's the proof? We did a whole show on it. We'd have broke it down for you like we're doing now. I mean, I guess you're getting it now. You're getting what you asked for, actually. You wanted the proof, you're getting it. But your friend, you should have a talk with him, a physical talk with him, because he disrespected you big time.
William did not read this. Crazy.
Yeah. and just speaking directly to William Reed, Akil, this is directly for you. And you should know, because I don't know you personally, but there's certain things that I'm pretty sure anybody that's been on their, their path for seeking knowledge, there's certain phases you go through, right? And one of those phases is like when you first start learning stuff, you really like, yeah, I'm learning it. I'm really learning it on. You're real hype and you want to tell everybody about it. You want to start teaching classes. And then that ends very quick, because when you start learning, you start realizing like, yeah, I don't really know nothing. You know what I mean? I've been studying Islam formally for the last, like 8 years. And I'm still like, yeah, I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. People ask questions, like I'm even afraid to like give answers unless they're like stuff that I absolutely know for sure. You know what I mean? And like usually I'll just like, okay, here's a link. This is what I think, but here's a link. You can look at it, blah, blah, blah. That type of stuff. So the fact that you are like teaching classes on Aqidah Iman, if your classes go beyond the 6 pillars of Iman, and even that, like you got to be very fearful for yourself and for your students of what you're actually teaching them, because
5 pillars. That's it. I mean, actually, no,
not even that.
Not even that, because several times, like, get you out of here real fast.
Exactly. Like you violate the first pillar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
you really need to go ahead and if you got some PTO for an Islamic Study Guild, go ahead and put in some PTO, take some time off. Preferably a few years. Do some of the basic studying or something, but you shouldn't be teaching anyone. You shouldn't be teaching anyone, and seriously, if any of your students come across this, they probably should immediately find a new teacher. Immediately. Yeah. The person is not honest. This is academic dishonesty.
Yeah.
No real scholar who's actually proud of their work would ever say, don't share my work. Don't share my proof. Don't share my work.
Yeah.
What type of buffoonery is that? You don't want nobody to share your proof of something that would bring people closer to Allah? Shaitan would do that. Don't share something that would bring people closer to Allah.
Yeah. It's crazy too, because and this is one of the big contradictions of this whole William Reed guy, right? Is that we can tell, and we'll get into it later when we talk about your responses to us. We can tell you wanted this disseminated at first, because you clearly say, and I'll pull it up again. You clearly say in the beginning, you say, Khalifa Hussein Abdullah asked me to send him information. Now, who are you speaking to right here? You are speaking to all of us. It's called third person. You are not speaking to Khalifa Hussein Abdullah, because if you were speaking to him, you would have said, you asked me to get you this information. Here it is. You expected him, and what it did is that he started disseminating it to people. Hey, look, I got proof. Then it started going around the chat rooms. Then people sent to us like, hey, look what they're sending around. You either, like Allah knows best, but it appears you definitely wanted other people to read this. And you most likely probably wanted us to read it. Like, yeah, I got him. Right?
Didn't.
Yeah, you got our attention. And then when you got our attention, and then we found out who you were, and then we addressed you directly, you issued a cease and desist.
He was like, yo, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I do not give you permission to use my name, my likeness, and my document.
I do not own rights to this music.
He said, this is information from one of the classes on Aqidah Iman in Islam that we teach in the Islamic Studies Guild. So the Islamic Studies Guild,
you're all wrong,
is just a place where you cut and paste typos and all from the internet and teach it. I hope nobody's paying for this. I hope nobody's paying. I mean, this is bad. And this is part of a class you teach.
Here we go. And I'll issue this, right? Because we know, and they should know this. One, I want to get in contact with the other teachers of the Islamic Studies Guild. I would love to talk to any one of them, right? 2, I would like to attend your classes. Send me the information so I can attend your classes. I want to learn what you got. I just want to learn, right?
Ask questions.
Ask questions, learn. I want to learn correct Islam. Let me see what you're teaching. No. Well, I'll attend. I guarantee you won't send me that information to attend your classes.
They won't.
He should. like all the old heads.
Exactly. So again, this whole Ilham Wahi thing, we're gonna sum it up real easy for you, because this is really what this whole document is about Wahi and Ilham. Wahi and Ilham, we believe in it. We have to believe in it as Muslims. As Sunni Muslims, we have to believe in Wahi and Ilham. If Ilham, Wahi's done, right? Revelation is done. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, revelation ended with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We individuals, doesn't matter if you're a Sufi, doesn't matter if you're a Salafi, doesn't matter if you're considered a wali or a saint or a normal person or a sinner, Allah can inspire whoever he feels the need to inspire through his angels, through dreams, whatever reason, right? He could do that. But Allah's not coming and talking to anybody. That ended with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay? And if in the test, again, I'm gonna repeat this, the test to decide whether you should pay heed to any ilham you receive or anybody's talking about is if it's in line with the Quran and the Sunnah. That's it. That's it. Right there, his whole document, we could have ended the show right there, but he added on another paragraph at the end, which we'll get to. But the next section that he brings up is evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, or no, from the Quran, about Ilham. And we're not, on this show, we're not going to go into it, but in our publication, we actually provide the tafsirs for all the ayats that he provided. That, and this is the kicker for me. This is the kicker, because the first section he copied and pasted from his Shiite site. Then the rest of the document he copied and pasted it from a book written in support of the Ahmadiyyas. Ahmadiyyas.
Yeah.
Who their leader claimed to be the prophet.
Yep.
A prophet, Isa, Mahdi. I don't even know what else he claimed, but this is so. And I want to mention this real quick, because one of the things that people will say is like, well, there's certain things, even though Shiites might not agree with us, there's certain things that overlap, which is true. There are some things that we do agree on, right? We agree on La ilaha illallah, right? Okay, that's fine. So you could find some things that are overlapping, just like sometimes Shiites use Sunni-based hadiths, right? And there's some of our hadiths that are also authentic according to their science and traditions. However, it's all about the context. It's all about the spin, right? We see it all the time, every day in America. You have Fox and you have CNN. They're both reporting the same news, but they got their own spin on it. So the context is very important. So you know that anything that these two sources provide is that it's going to be provided in the context of what they believe in. Some Shiites believe that Khalifa Ali should have been the prophet, like Allah made a mistake. Some Shiites believe that there's these mystical 12th imams that like live forever and they can violate Sharia or make up their own Sharia and all these different things. Ahmadiyyas believe that their leader was a prophet after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They believe that he was Isa returning. They believe that he was also the Mahdi and all other types of crazy stuff that they believed in.
So,
right?
So y'all got to ask yourselves, do you believe that there's a prophet after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do you? And I mean, the main body of Muslims, the majority, for the most part, and the ulama have concluded that the Ahmadiyya are not part of Islam. They're not Muslims because they believe things that are contradictions to the Quran and the Sunnah. Therefore, those two things can't remain within Islam. The Quran and Sunnah and a contradiction. If you believe in something that's against the Quran and Sunnah, then that puts you outside of Islam, because Allah said that this day has perfected the religion. Everything is there. You add something, it's going to be rejected. You believe in that thing over what Allah said, then you believe in something else. Allah's religion is Islam. You have something else. So the 7 sultans is something other than Islam. Ahmadiyya is something other than Islam, and various other things. So do you believe, as the Ahmadiyyas believe, that their guy, because they have a leader who they believe to be you know, a messenger after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you're going to take their sources and use their information, and they literally believe something that is contrary to Islam. And it's contrary to what you believe yourself. So
yeah, I was just thinking that same exact thing. I was like, yo, if you went to him like, hey, you know what about you ever heard about the 7 sultans? Even they'll be like, nah, that's some made up stuff.
This man, yo, this scholar, a teacher at the Islamic Studies Guild, literally is just, I mean, flailing at the wind. Every source he seems to grab is from someone who doesn't even believe or agree with what he's actually trying to prove. They actually disagree with him, but he's using their sources. And on top of that, the guy, Akil William Reed, don't even believe in Jilani.
What you believe in? Exactly.
I mean, literally, this whole thing is messed up. No one actually believes in anything that they're getting their sources from. You want to prove from someone who don't even believe it? I mean, wow, that's like me going that's like me going to a pastor around the corner and say, "Can you give me some proof that Quran is the final word of God?" I mean, I'd be an idiot.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like this Akil guy, Akil William Reed. Bill Reed, he used to be part of the Jamaat, but got kicked out or left or whatever, right? So, but he still must believe in the stuff. But Akil, think of the contradiction, and this is for all the TMY people that have left, are willingly out, right? If you actually believed in the 7 sultans, you would be doing everything in your power to get back inside the Jamaat. Why? 100%. Because your 6th sultan has declared everybody outside of TMOA munafiqs, kafirs, and not real Muslims. That is what that's what your sheikh said about you. He said you're a munafiq, kafir, and not a real Muslim, and that you're probably going to commit suicide.
On the corner. That comes from your therapist too, by the way.
It's around the corner.
Yep, that's your therapist right there. Therapist K2 Saab, doctor.
So it just shows that, like, you know, we have to become critical thinkers, and no matter who we are, no matter how smart we are, no matter how smart we think we are, no matter how educated we are, we all have a risk of stopping our critical thinking, because it's easy to not critically think. It's easy to just turn that aspect of your brain off. Mm-hmm. But you will suffer because of it. Our Fitrah is not made to just not think or not analyze things. And this is why you see, and this is a whole nother discussion that we can't get into now, this is why you see a lot of mental health issues and different things popping up in these cult-like groups, is because we have a Fitrah. Allah made us a certain way. You know, I'm going to talk about this at the end. Allah made us to think. He created us to think. He created us to follow a religion that makes total sense. This is why when we go to Christians and people in other religious groups, and a lot of them convert to Islam just because it just makes sense. It's common sense. You know, so turn those faculties back on in your brain, as is a previous family member I used to have, or in-law had. You say, get that hamster running in your brain around the wheel, get it going, and you'll see that this stuff doesn't make any sense. You are supporting a sheikh that called you a kafir or munafiq. Straight up.
All the brain cells just seem to leave, because like just even okay, I understand, but like if you're gonna fake this paper document, the easiest thing to do is to just change all the format to one format. Like it's so clearly copy and paste it, because you got a bunch of different formats and fonts and all this stuff. Like you could at least just like Control A and then go to tools and change it all to one format. Like you're so lazy. Like this is how much that he thinks about you people in the Jamaat. Like, oh, I'm just gonna just give him anything because this is gonna be spread. Like that is so laughable to me that he would do this to y'all. Y'all just be fine with it, because this was being shared around for a while. So like y'all could be fine with this. But we got them now.
But you know what?
I mean, literally before even knowing what was in the document, once I seen all that multiple fonts and all that stuff, I'd be like, man, a kid did this. Either someone who doesn't know how to use a computer, someone who never actually had to turn in a paper. See, that's the thing. A person who actually had to turn one in knows, man, I'm gonna get docked. my grade is gonna get jacked up just for this bad, literally the font is terrible. I mean, just for that alone, no sources. I mean, literally, this paper would probably be rejected without the professor even reading it. Yep. Just because they would reject anything you said. You could have just taken that from someone else. Nigga's name ain't even on it.
Yeah.
But and Amr touched on this like beautifully. He hopefully brings it back like when we talk at the end. But like all these different signs of cowardice, right? Like
I'm so shook.
You wanted to put this out there, but you didn't want to be attached to it, like because you didn't want any blowback from it.
You wanted to put it out publicly on the internet. This is the same thing of like K2 speaking publicly, right? You wanted to put it out publicly, but you don't want it to be heard by us, even though it's on the internet. Like we're gonna people are just gonna send it. It's literally everywhere. Like, oh well, I hope we don't find it. Like, that's not how this works. Like it's a public tweet.
And that's why that phrase, "the coward dies 1,000 deaths," is so. I mean, it's so true. I think it was Khalid ibn al-Walid said something like that or similar. It's talking about how for his bravery and so brave, because it's like, when you're a coward, when you run, when you're scared, you die inside a little bit every time. You don't just face up to whatever it is and literally, like a man, take on the challenge. You win or you lose. And the thing is, it's a new term. Not a new term, but it's something that I'll start using later. You don't really lose. Actually, when you take on these challenges, you either win or you learn. But the coward loses because they run from it. Instead of putting your name on it and say, "This is what I think." Now, this is a person. This is the thing. You think that you can't be wrong, or maybe you don't even want to entertain the thought that someone will say, "Yo, you put together a bunch of junk and we're going to refute you on it." So you don't put your name on it. That way you don't have to face the fire. But if people are like, "Wow, this is great, this is our proof," you can still take in the accolades. You want to win without no risk of losing. But the coward is going to die 1,000 deaths because instead of you presenting this document and putting your name on it, we say, "Hey, yo, William, whoever," like, "Yeah, I'll call you about it. Yeah, I got 10 minutes. I got 5 minutes. I got an hour," whatever the case may be. "Yeah, swing by the Islamic Studies Guild. I'll be glad to enlighten you on how this is from the Quran and Sunnah. Y'all like to talk about Quran and Sunnah? Yeah, me too. And okay, well, you brought some good information. Okay, great. But the coward won't do that. So instead, literally, we haven't even basically gotten into the meat of your document, and you already have been clowned at least 100 times. I mean, it's actually embarrassing. I mean, I'm sure he probably has wife, kids, or whatever the case may be. This is his fault because he did something very cowardly. And so you should tell him, "Yo, don't be a coward next time. Put your name behind your work. Stand behind your work. Produce some quality work. Don't put forth trash like this. Don't pretend to be a scholar. Don't pretend to know more than you are. Don't mislead and misguide people. And this won't happen. But what Allah will do will be far worse. Stay in your lane. Have some bravery. And, then you roll with the punches as they come. But this is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Unless you come out and say, "You know what? Yeah, it was me. I wrote it. That was a dumb thing to do. Quran and Sunnah all the way. Let's stick with the proofs." People are probably like, "Yeah, man, that's a brave thing to do. To do something wrong, to come back, correct people, guide people the right way." Now that's not cowardly. But to still keep hiding and they will probably get another little, correspondence or something. "Don't send them this or whatever." We're going to get everything. Allah just has it that way that we keep getting every little thing that's tried to be hidden, and then we literally just blast you on it. So go ahead and try to send another hidden secret document. We'll get that too, and we'll have fun with that too.
Yeah. So real quick, if I go to some place to take classes and it's called the Islamic Studies Guild, if it's not in a castle, I'm gonna be very disappointed. if I don't see a dragon, I'm gonna be so upset. There better be dragons, swords, and at least a castle or at least a dungeon. Get me in a dungeon, and then I'm gonna really respect y'all name.
And daggers and arrows and stuff from ancient Arabic times when they fought in wars.
Exactly.
They do sword fighting, jousting.
Yeah. All in the name of Allah, the ISG.
So just real quick, just to touch on just a couple of aspects within the ayats, and these are just reminders for people that are in TMOA. So like one of the ayats that he provides is from Surah Kaf, when it's about Khidr alayhi salam. And so what we did is we pulled the tafsirs from all the TMOA accepted tafsir books, which is Ibn Abbas, Ibn Kathir, what is the other one? Tafsir Usmani. It was like 4 or 5 tafsirs we gathered them from.
Ma'rif for the Quran.
Yeah, I don't think I didn't have that one, but it was 5. It was 5 of them that all of them 5 of them were used by Mubarak Jalani, and all of them say, contrary to what Mubarak Jalani teaches, and contrary to what y'all try to use Khidr for, Khidr is a prophet. They all say the same thing. They all say Khidr is a prophet. Jalalain, like it's say so. Just think about that. When you go to the actual sources of the books that your sheikh reads directly from to teach y'all, they actually say Khidr is a prophet. But then to support this idea of that Mubarak Jalani is a wali and he's getting special secret knowledge, let's change Khidr into a wali. Let's take that opinion because it fits with the narrative I want to push. And the other ayah he put in there, which actually refutes what he's trying to support, is the ayat in Ashura 42:51, and where this is the ayat that Allah talks about how he doesn't speak directly to mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And the ayat about how he only speaks to prophets, but when he speaks to them, it's through a veil, or he sends the messenger, angel Gabriel, to give the message. So it actually refutes everything that you're trying to say about Ilham and Wahi.
And about Jelani just overall, because that's kind of the whole claim to fame from Mubarak Jelani is that he speaks directly to Allah, and he goes to paradise, and he flies it as a bird and stuff like that. All the bird creatures we have, like
So let's reset it real quick. These people, Jilani, William Aqil Reed, and whoever else, they're taking you guys all for fools, because what they're doing is they're using books. You see this man Jilani with books stacked up. I mean, literally stacked up. Basically, barely can only see his eyes. He got books stacked up on his desk, and all these books that he's using, they all are contradicting what he's teaching. So therefore, it's like, wouldn't it be so his knowledge is limited to the point where he needs to go to a book, because we use books because everyone has a certain limit to their knowledge, and the knowledge is taken down and it's put in a form where you can access it, right? He's limited because he has to use the book. Yet what the writer of the book is more knowledgeable than him. That's why he has to use that book. Otherwise, he'd be using his own book. Or he would just be spitting straight from the hip. Because
that he starts going AWOL.
But the thing is, he's using books. Please listen to this carefully. He's using the books, but the books that he's using, he doesn't agree with. So he's contradicting himself, but he's making the audience seem to think that he has some sort of knowledge or some insight, or that he's a scholar. He's not. He's tricking you. The book that he's using is contradicting him. So it's like all the way down that William Reed is using stuff that he doesn't believe in, nor do they believe in him. Jelani is using books that refute him, and he's teaching something else. I mean, at what point are y'all going to realize that y'all being bamboozled by every single person that comes in contact with you that's telling you that they're giving you some information that's going to bring you closer to Allah? It's actually taking you further away.
Mm-hmm. I really wonder what they're going to do, like when you get, because I mean, they're having babies every day, right? So what are you going to do when you have the next generations coming up and they start asking questions and none of y'all are allowed to actually teach it or talk about it? Like, what are y'all going to do? Right now, you got all this content that we have on the internet. You don't think they're going to run into it? TMOA this, TMOA that, 7 Sultan this. And once we get to our next phase of what we're doing, inshallah, it's really going to be out there. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do? Like, I just really want to know what the end game is. You know, is it just ride this out and collect as much money as possible, you know, until like we can't collect it anymore? Like, what happens? What happens to the next generation when you have Mubarak Jelani's great grandkids? You know, you have 3 generations of cult babies trying to collect from this 10% pot. What are you going to do? Else raise it? We have less people are paying, so let's just raise it and collect more money. I mean that honestly probably is the best strategy you got. But just why don't you just instead Allah will honor you, right? There's a hadith, and I don't remember the exact words, but there's not a person that debases themselves for Allah's sake that Allah will not raise their status.
Yes. Whoever humbles themselves for Allah's sake, it's not, I don't have a word for word, so don't quote me like he's making stuff up. The gist of it is, and I can't recall it right now word for word, but is that whoever humbles himself for Allah's sake, then Allah will raise them because they're humbling themselves to Allah. That's what in Salah we bow and we do sujood to Allah. We're humbling ourselves, and then Allah raises us. So he rewards us and raises our station for that thing. And whoever exalts themselves for their own, you see the video of the guy, ask Imam Mahdi about me, just looking like the biggest, most arrogant person. It's like, or the phrase, I'm the most humble person in the world, and these type of things. But, the point is, if you humble yourself, then Allah will. For Allah's sake, then Allah will reward you for that. And if you are being prideful and arrogant and deceitful in these things for worldly, personal gain and trying to circumvent the religion of Allah, surely Allah will debase you. If you're getting debased in this world, at least there's the chance that this is your punishment. And hopefully, if you get yourself on the right track, then Allah will forgive us. We hope Allah will forgive us all for our sins. But the key is you have to stop doing the wrong and get back on the right. Otherwise, you might get debased in this life and in the next. So may Allah protect us from that. I mean.
His evidence is from the Quran, right? Like there's a 7 in here one time. Like it's not even like it's not even 7. There's just no sultan. There's no like none of that. The whole point of this is to proof the 7 fakes of like your whole point is to like, so this doesn't prove 8. It doesn't say sultan, nothing. It's not even close to okay, I can kind of get this. No, actually you kind of refuted yourself here, low key, but
Yeah. Well, everything that they brought, all the information is either from sources that will refute them. Like if you go to the author of the sources that they pulled, they will refute them. The author that they pulled will refute them, and then the Quran that they pulled, it refutes them. So far he's batting 0%. He's swung and missed on everything, every single thing.
What page are we on now?
We're on page 2 still.
So page 2. Okay, so 2 pages now, and the 7 sultans has only been mentioned in like the top title. That's it. No proof so far of the 7 sultans. And we go to the next section where he does have a similar idea, but we can't give him credit for getting the structure right, because generally when you support things, you start with the Quran first, then you come with the hadiths, then you come with the statements of the Sahabas and then the scholars, right? So he tried to do that, but we can't give him credit because he just copied the whole section from the Ahmadiyya book, right? And just to give context, so like Mubarak has said, like the scholars of Sunni Islam have declared that Ahmadiyyas are not Muslim. They're not Sunni Muslims, right? They got their own religion. This book was written in a defense for why they were declared not Muslims. They were trying to prove that they were Muslims. And they're trying to prove that their leader, Ghulam Ahmed or whatever his name is, Qadiani, they're trying to prove that their leader actually does. They're trying to prove that their leader actually does receive wahi, and this is the proof they were providing to say yes. The Quran and Hadith say that people after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ can get revelation. So that's the context of this. So we have another page copied. We have another section copied and pasted from the Ahmadiyya book, the evidence from the Hadith. And I wanted to do a segment on this to bring it back to our beginning days of the guess the fabricated Hadith. But if you guys look as Amr kind of scrolls down and you see after every Hadith, so like this is, you have a watchful eye. When you got to watch if someone tries to pull something over you, right? So like we talked about in Islamic scholarship, you provide references and sources. When you quote a hadith, you say this came from Sahih Bukhari, this came from Muslim, this came from this or that, right? So all these hadiths pretty much do that, except for one. The very last hadith.
To the very bottom, utter BS.
Yep. So everyone's like Dawood, some other weird books I never heard of. So I don't know if they're authentic. We didn't even go down that route because it's like, what's the point, right? Mm-hmm. But let's look at the last hadith. If we could read it real quick. Okay. You guys see it on the screen. Where's it at? Let me pull it up.
It's once Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu went to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu and asked him to explain the inner meanings of Surah Fatiha. He went on explaining the whole night, and when the azan, why? Okay, I can't. And when the adhan, the adhan, not the azan, when the adhan of the next morning prayer was recited, he was still explaining the meanings of the first letter. This shows that Allah Almighty reveals the mysteries of creation, Haqq and Marif, to the prophets and saints, Awliya, and nobody can deny it. Revelations is of many degrees. Revelations to the prophets are known as Wahi, to the saints, Awliya, as Kamarat, and ordinary pious persons as Ilham and Ilaq. There are several examples of these revelations in the Quran Hadith, cited by no one. All right, so just trust him. Just trust him that there are examples of this in the Quran Hadith. I didn't find it myself, but like, trust me, like they're there. Believe me. All right.
And then, like, you see, there's no reference, and there's no reference because it's not authentic. It's a fabrication.
I want to know which Sahaba or Tabi'i that related this that says azan instead of adhan.
The Pakistani Sahaba was like the azan, but
the thing is, the people from Indian subcontinent, they put a z instead of a that. They use a azan, azalim. So you know where this came from. You know where this came from. I'm assuming that the boy, the brother Akil, William Reed, definitely didn't type this unless he became Pakistani overnight. I mean, it's like, but stuff like this is like, man, it clearly and unfortunately this old wacky stuff, it seems to be concentrated in this region of the world. They produce a lot of these, but there's no. I mean, I'm trying to look. I mean, maybe my eyes can't pick it up, but I don't see anything even remotely. Like, there's nothing there. There's the quotations. I do see the quotation.
After it.
But no, you see, but that's the thing. You see how there's one quotation at the end. But
like
typo.
Where's the quotation at the beginning of wherever you started freaking saying just like BS? And then it's like, all right, well, nothing here. He also doesn't quite. To summarize, Wahi has ended. Like, okay, so there you go.
It's funny because, like, and I'm just realizing this now. He copied and pasted with the typos from someone else that shows that these people actually copied and pasted it from somewhere else.
It's the chain of narration is just copying and pasting it. He was just like, hold on, copy this. All right, cool.
Yeah, right.
And Control V. All right, cool, done.
That's the new TM way to narrate, right? So and so copied and pasted from Fulan. Copied and pasted from.
I mean, just left one quotation mark just dangling. This is bad work. He should have had somebody proofread this jump on.
William should have read this.
That was the one.
Problem. William didn't read. It's in your name, brother. Come on, man. Follow through.
And exactly. It's like we this is like, if you guys see again. Just a reminder: if you have questions, we're gonna take some questions at the end, but usually we want you guys to remember them or type them in the chat so we can get to them, because we will take questions at the end, inshallah. But let's get to the next section where he talks about the evidence from the scholars.
Yes.
Again, this is copied and pasted from the same book.
Hold up. The first scholar mentioned should be Mubarak Jalani, isn't it? Isn't it Mubarak Jalani?
No. It's Imam Raghib.
Hold on. This is definitely a typo. You mean to tell me the proof for the 7 sultans, the most prominent, His Eminence, the Dr. Saeed Shah Mubarak Jalani, is he even mentioned in this at all?
This
Think
is
about
not
it.
him. So Sheikh Saeed
I mean,
Abdul Qadir Jilani is the real one.
Isn't he the most preeminent authority on this seven sultan
Well,
mess in the world? He's the sixth sultan. He's not even quoted. They didn't even quote him.
Well,
They
I
didn't
mean,
quote him.
he's the sixth sultan depending on who you ask. Like if you ask someone else in Pakistan, they might
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm him." So like they weren't really sure. Like he didn't really.
Well,
I mean,
Wow.
he should have
So
got quotes from all 5 of the 6 sultans then. All of
Wow.
them should have a quote in here, right?
So I mean
Right?
that's like a fictional character, like and everybody knows it's a fictional character, and they're all arguing over who's this fictional character, and like literally, I mean, actually, it's not even pretend. This is actually what it is. This is made up, and
Yeah.
like you're looking, Hussein Abdullah. Please listen carefully, Sheikh, uncle. The man provided you proof. Why are you going to him for proof? And his proof didn't even mention your God. I mean, didn't mention it. Nothing from him. I mean, hang on. All of the people mentioned as proof for this that he used would all either A, refute the 7 sultans existing at all or being any part of Islam, or they themselves would refute you. They either don't believe in Islam or they got their own 7th. They got their own sultan. How did this even work for you? I mean, did you read this and was like, yeah, this will work? I'm sorry to inform you, this won't work. You need to ask someone else. I mean, try again. Try again for proof. I mean, I think that's a noble thing to do. You want to believe in the 7 sultans? Try again for proof. You want to believe in the 7 sultans in general? Because there's about 10 or 12 that we have found that you could pick up and follow another one. But if
still
you're
alive, by the way.
But if you're looking for proof that Jilani is the 7th sultan, actually this document, if it does anything to prove, it proves that he ain't.
Yep.
That's the only thing this does. It literally eliminates him as being one. So you could maybe if he quoted whatever he got it from, or you do some more digging, but Jilani ain't it according to this document. Try again.
And you know, and along that same theme, there's supposedly 5 other sultans, right?
Sultan
You have
Bahu.
Fatima radiallahu anha, you have Hassan Basri, you have Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, you have Abdul Razak, and you have Sultan Bahu. The only person I remember that was quoted in here was Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, and actually the quote is a fabrication of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. It doesn't come from any of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani's books, which he's a very misquoted and people fabricate stuff about him all the time. It's been known throughout history. But as far as I know, that's the only sultan, alleged sultan that he quoted. Because if the whole thing existed, you would have quotes from Fatima, Hassan Basri, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Abdul Razak, all the people that Bahu claimed were the previous sultans. You would have all these quotes. This is the ayat, this is the hadith that supports why I'm the 5th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, whatever sultan. But this is your proofs. Again, nothing, right? And the quote that you actually got, because you copied and pasted, you didn't look up the sources that he actually used, the book that you copied and pasted from. You didn't see if it was actually legit. You actually copied and pasted and relayed a fabricated narration from Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani and also from Khalifa Ali. And Allah knows best, because we didn't check all the hadiths. What if you actually narrated and passed on fabricated hadiths? There's very strict warnings from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ about lying about Rasul ﷺ. You got to be careful about this stuff. Very careful.
Well, this stuff is lying. This stuff is lying on Allah, because they are trying to say that this is something that is sanctioned, or that because this they're not saying this alleged wahi or ilham. They're not saying it's coming from, a sheikh somewhere. This whole thing is about this alleged wahi or ilham is coming from Allah. So they lying on the messenger. Allah already said that, Rasul said that comes with a seat in the hellfire. So what you think lying on Allah is going to get? I mean,
and there's in this thing, and we go into it in more detail in our publications on about the actual Risala Ruhi. But the one sheikh that they mentioned there, Sheikh Ahmed, I believe, he's down a little bit. If you scroll down,
Sheikh Ahmed, yeah.
They refer to him in this document as the Mujaddid
Of India.
Right? The Mujaddid of India. So that means
Only
he's
India?
Mujaddid
Yep.
of India, of all India.
Only India. But
yeah, so the Mujaddid is the most important person in that time, in that place, right? Guess what century he lived during?
Sultan Bahu. Yay. So the Mujaddid and God were alive at the same time, according to the seven sultans.
Yes.
Way to go.
Yes.
Way to go.
These guys, every time they do it, every time you try to present, and this is why we keep asking y'all to do it, and the smart ones don't do it because you know what we're doing. Every time you open up your mouth, every time you move your pen, every time you type your fingers on the text or whatever to try to defend the seven sultans, you are in fact disproving the seven sultans. You will do it every time, no matter what, guaranteed. We don't even have to do it. Just talk.
I mean, it's falsehood, so it never can stand up to the truth. We're confident because the only thing we're pulling from is, does it match up with the Quran? It gets blown out of the water every time. Does it match up with the Sunnah? It gets blown out of the water every time. We're not geniuses, but the people who are trying to do this are definitely fools. I mean, we're standing behind the Quran and the Sunnah. These people are coming with some concocted mess from Shaitan or whoever and his minions, and it is getting destroyed. This is actually far more embarrassing than I even thought. When I read it the first time, I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. Now going through it now, it's like, it's even worse. I mean, this is an embarrassment for whoever read it and like took it seriously. I mean, please, someone, at least one person with a spine from TMOA, just tell us that you read this and you took it seriously. Like you were like, okay, this is proof. And after seeing this, you still believe it's proof? The Mujaddid of the century. I mean, all these people don't even agree with TMOA. Come on, man. I mean, even the one writing it. I mean, what more needs to be said? But I mean, let's keep going. But still, this is like, I mean, if you still are hanging on to this, a psychiatrist needs to check in. Oh, you know what? They got plenty of those though. They got plenty to
EGM psychiatrist, yes, sir.
EGM. So this is the one thing I want to point out is that right there at the bottom of that page, that Masala 28. Yeah. He put the most, and to get to General Ali's question about like the argument against it, there is no argument against this besides he has misconceptions about what Ilham and Wahi are. But the argument right now is that so far he still has not provided any proof for the seven sultans. He's talking about Wahi and Ilham and using un-Islamic sources to provide a basis for Wahi and Ilham. We know where he's going with it, but still, if no one had any idea about any of this and has never heard the arguments for seven sultan, they don't know where he's going. So a normal person reading this would be like, what are they talking about? Like, where is the seven sultans a reference to Ilham and Wahi? No. But if you look at this Masala 28, it's like a footnote, right? And this is actually the most important statement and true statement of the whole entire document.
Okay, so it says here, sometimes the awliya, the plural of wali, receive ilm, knowledge, in their sleep or while awake. These are called kashf or ilm, revelation, kashf or revelation or inspiration. If they are in conformity with the shariat, they are acceptable, otherwise not. This should have been the first thing you had inside of your document. In both.
They should have opened the document. Just this should have been there, and that was it. It should have been a two-sentence document.
Exactly. And I want to point out another copy and paste typo, because what does in conformity mean? He meant to say in space conformity.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad at this point. I mean, please, lifers, all you people, listen to what is in the document. This is the document. This was the Hail Mary. 1 second on the clock, dialed up a play. Hussein Abdallah calls the play in. William Reed, you know what I mean, takes it. He's running deep and he throws the bomb. And this is it. This is your last hope. There's nothing else. The first Caliph, 40 years, y'all are looking for proof something. And literally, this is in the document of proof that says it doesn't matter what these niggas are seeing at night, during the day, where they are, it doesn't matter. Ilham, whatever you want to say. The last sentence is it. And if you want to say this document is proof, we're taking it, we're running with it. It's right here. It says if they are, what he meant to say was in conformity with the Sharia, they are acceptable. Otherwise, not. Which means, let me break it down for you. The Sharia is the Quran and the Sunnah, and its understanding of those, the Sahaba and those generations that are after them. So the Sharia is what Allah has legislated and what Rasulullah has legislated for us. That is the Sharia, okay? If it's in conformity with that, great, let's all do it. Otherwise not. That's what this says. Now, bring me one hadith that even mentions 7 and Sultan in the same sentence. I mean, just find it somewhere. I mean, not even in the same sentence, just in the same hadith. Actually, find me in any chapter of a book of hadith where it mentions Sultan and 7 in the same hadith. Find me any Sahaba. Find me any of the alleged sultans, Fatima radiallahu anha, or any of the other Hassan al-Basri, that actually mention 7 and a sultan or any of this. I mean, let's do that. There's nothing in the Sharia. And I can say by Allah, with Allah as the witness, there's nothing in the Sharia that supports shirk. There's nothing in the Sharia that is inviting and calling people to shirk. And that's all this Risala Ruhi is. But go to the Quran. We already proved to you that the ayahs that he presented actually refute him, and they actually refute the 7 Sultan. So if you're gonna go by this document, it says if they're not in conformity, which is if they don't agree with and they can't be found inside of the Sharia, they're not allowed. So Ilham, Wahi, his dreams and all that stuff, it's just that, his dreams. No one should follow it, not even him, if it's not in conformity with the Sharia. The case is closed. There's no proof for it. It's over. I mean, pick up the pieces, start to discuss what you should do after this. Just take it as an L. We fell for some foolishness for 40 years. Hussein Abdallah, I mean, it's over. It's over. The document, you tried. I mean, literally, time was running out. You threw a bomb. It got batted down in the end zone, got picked off. It's getting run back for a touchdown now. I mean, it's over. Just be like, all right, now what do we need to do? And I mean, we're going to officially extend you the offer. What you can do, K1, you can come on the show, discuss that now after we have broken it down, that you understand now and believe that this document ain't proof, and we can discuss what proofs you should be following. And we can do it, and a lot of people will probably benefit from it, and they will be able to, inshallah, come towards the right way with your help and you helping them to guide them to the right way, and Allah will reward you for it. Otherwise, if you keep silent on this, He will punish you for it. Now it's on you because you initiated this asking, and now people follow this. You and William Reed are gonna share in the punishment because you're part of it now. But you can separate yourself from the punishment and actually get a reward if you step up and say, you know what? I wanted some proof. They've proven that this is not proof. And now what I need to do is correct this thing. You can do it. We'll let you do it. I mean, on an off day, any day, we'll show up and do it and get it set right. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be just between you and Allah. But you had the opportunity. You have the opportunity now. You don't know if you're going to die tonight, tomorrow, another day. Don't delay. repent to Allah and remove this 7 sultans, any disbelief from your heart and your mind, and say, I might not know nothing about Islam, because clearly you don't know that much about Islam if you're looking for proof from these type of people and you're actually believing in this. But what you should say is, I don't know much about Islam. I might not know everything I need to know, but I'm only going to worship Allah alone. And when I learn about that, I'm going to stick to it. And I'm leaving anything that even comes close to shirk. That's what you need to do. Sorry for going on this little tangent, but I mean, it's like, this is just like, it's ridiculous.
The best part about this entire paper is the last part, because like I believe he actually writes this stuff at the end where he's like, the whole Risala Ruhi is in conformity with the Quran and Hadith. No, it's not. All right. Clearly, Mr. William Reed, you have not read this or the Risala Ruhi at all. Like if you read the Risala Ruhi, it's like page 1 shirt. Done. Like so it's not in conformity with
yeah, so like this is, and we got to point this out because now we're like on the last page of the actual document. And it's the actual only part of the document that actually talks about the 7 sultans.
Yes.
We have 6 pages that's talking about Wahi and Ilham. And now we have literally a half a page about the actual 7 sultans. And this is his proof. Okay, so that's, we went like, he could have saved us all a lot of trouble and put that one important sentence from that footnote he added about it has to be in conformity with the Quran and the Sunnah or the Sharia, and then he could have put this part. But when you are trying to prove something, right, whether you're debating or just supporting a thesis or doing a research paper or something, you have to know the difference between proof, evidence, and a claim. So literally what he did, just to summarize this up, and we can summarize this whole paper up in like a few sentences by saying, here, my proof of the 7 sultans is that I'm claiming it to be ilham from Risala Ruhi that is in conformity with the Quran and Sunnah. That's literally all he said in this whole entire document. That's all he said. And which, again, is just a claim. He's making another claim because what he did is he extended it to making it a claim that now Risala Ruhi is ilham. That's another claim. You would have to prove it by your own evidence you provided in this paper by proving that it's in conformity with the Quran and Sunnah. That is in conformity with Sharia. And the crazy thing about it is, again, he refutes himself because this is what happens when you copy and paste and don't read what you're copying and pasting. You copy and pasted a line that says that ilham is okay if it's in conformity with Sharia. Then in this section, you said the Risala really has nothing to do with Sharia.
Wait.
I forgot that was in there.
I forgot about that. It gives me a flashback to last episode about K2 where he's like, the Muslims believe this, but the Sufis, like basically what he just said in this document. If an ignorant person reads it without knowledge of the Aqidah and the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they can mistakenly think that it contains shirk. No, it does.
This Jones says it explains Aqidah and Iman in a beautiful way, and there is no Sharia divine laws in it at all.
There is no Islamic rules to it.
I mean, he says there's no Sharia in it at all. Then you said it's in conformity with it.
Yep.
I mean,
this man. The whole Risala Ruhi is in conformity with the Quran and Hadith from the first page to the last word.
You know,
that's not even how
at first, listen. At first, I didn't realize why the man was so adamant to the point where he's making up fake cease and desist letters and documents and stuff to try to keep anyone from saying this. Now, at first I thought, well, he's being a coward. Now I understand. I wouldn't want nobody to read this either.
Yep.
Maybe he proofread it and was like, oh my God,
this is terrible.
This joint is terrible. I'm all over the place. I literally contradicted myself. I literally disproved the argument, and I'm going to look like an idiot. I hope no one reads this. So maybe that's why, because it literally says, if it's not in conformity with the Sharia, ilham should not be acknowledged. You should not follow it. It's nothing. It's just dreams. And then he literally says later, That there's no Sharia in it at all. So you know what that says? The Risala Ruhi is absolutely nothing. It's nothing.
Yes.
You can put it on the book with Dr. Seuss and any other story or fable book. Actually, you should burn it because actually it's not. It's dangerous. Actually, when you want to read it, it's filled with shirk. But by this document right here, the Risala Ruhi should not be acknowledged, and it has nothing to do with Sharia. And Islam is the Sharia. So therefore, it has nothing to do with Islam. If you believe in the Risala Ruhi, which within the Risala Ruhi is the belief of the 7 sultans. Therefore, he already told you, and he's saying, literally, this document says you're a kufr. This document says you're not a Muslim because he already says there's no Sharia in it. And the document says if it's not in the Sharia, you don't follow it. And the Risala Ruhi has I mean, literally, it's over. It's literally over. We don't even, what are we doing here? Can some brave soul step up and explain this to me, how they're still believing in anything? The 7th Sultan is a fable. It's just a fable. And literally, you're going to march to your grave with it. You're excommunicating family members over it. That mixed stuff is. Let me stop.
Okay, no. But if you're writing a paper, generally, right, for anyone who's academic or has been to college or any sort of like higher education, generally your last closing paragraph, you're using it to rehash your argument and then go from there to close it out. He just throws a shot at Ibn Taymiyyah for literally no reason.
Literally, Ibn Taymiyyah is minding his business.
He's like,
gets like a punch. Literally, that's like he's not even part of this.
I'm about to say, for no reason. It's like if there was any shirk in Risala Ruhi, Hazrat Sultan Bahu would have been arrested and condemned for hearsay in the Islamic courts. First of all, he's Indian, so that wouldn't have happened anyway. All y'all on shirk. Second of all, follows it up with the father of Salafism, Ibn Taymiyyah, right? It contains shirk, bid'ah, layah, and hearsay. First of all, provide proofs of the shirk, bid'ah, and hearsay that he has. That he works. You did it again. He was arrested and found guilty of guilty by the Islamic courts, consisting of four qadis, each from one of the 4 schools of fiqh. Ibn Taymiyyah was hanged in the year 728 AH. Like, what?
So here's the thing, right?
In the year,
Ibn Taymiyyah was not hanged.
Thank you.
Right? He wasn't hanged. Like he didn't have enough energy or fear of Allah or fear of passing on wrong information that you couldn't even go to Wikipedia and be like, wait, maybe let me see if this is right.
How about Ibn Taymiyyah had a peaceful mouth? How do you know this?
It's so ridiculous because, and here's the thing, because this is how you know people are trying to influence you, right? Because he knows that he's pushing this out to a bunch of Sufis or alleged Sufis, right? So there's this whole Sufi versus Salafi thing. So if you want to like push your argument, all you have to do, and you got to tap on people's emotions, push on their emotional buttons. So what do you want to do? You throw in words like Salafi, Wahhabi, Ibn Taymiyyah, and that'll spark people's emotions. Like, oh yeah, like, because what does Ibn Taymiyyah have to do with anything? And they say he's the father of Salafism. No, he's not. But the Salafism that you're talking about came in the 18th and 19th centuries, hundreds of years after Ibn Taymiyyah passed away in his prison cell. And
Ibn Taymiyyah has nothing to do with this, but the biggest strike against this man. Like Amar pointed out, how you gonna close out this document? It started with saying, oh, Hussein Abdullah asked me to provide proof. Okay, that's opening. So we're expecting the proof. We never got proof. But then you close out the document with something completely unrelated. And this is a scholar. Man, listen, this is a slap in the face to any student anywhere. Yeah. For someone to actually even call themselves a student. because a student should have some ghira for this type of thing. You presented this as someone who actually put forth some work, some effort to help to clarify and present Islam to people. And this is what you did. This is a joke. This is, I mean, I would expect like a 12-year-old girl to end a joke like this, like, you know, such and such, and in their paper, like dissing, you know, someone who used to be their friend and stuff. It's like, they don't got nothing to do with this. Ibn Taymiyyah has nothing to do with any of this. He don't got nothing to do with Risala Ruhi. I mean, you went into a bunch of junk. You finished. Let me tell you how you're supposed to finish your paper. So you start, okay, and then when your ending should tie back into where you began. So it kind of ties everything up. Did you start with Ibn Taymiyyah? Now, if you would have started this joint with Ibn Taymiyyah was hanged in 1728, I'd be like, okay, he came full circle. But literally, you just jumped out of nowhere and took a swipe at Ibn Taymiyyah. You know, you're gonna have to answer for that. Hopefully, you repent for that, because he hasn't done anything. Nor I don't even know if there's any writings by Ibn Taymiyyah on anything that has to do with Risala Ruhi. Now, maybe he did bust up the Sufis. But you know, Ruhi, he ain't got nothing to do.
The thing is, he tries to like use the fact that Ibn Taymiyyah was arrested and how he allegedly died. Say he got hanged. Let's say he wasn't hanged, even though you're wrong, as like a proof. Like these are actual proofs that he's offering for the Risala Ruhi. He's saying that it's ilham. It doesn't contain anything to do with Sharia, and Ibn Taymiyyah was hanged. That's his proof for the Risala Ruhi. That's it. So let's go with the idea of him being locked up. How many? You talked about the 4 like scholars or qadis of the 4 schools. Every single one of them were arrested. Every single one.
And the thing is, this is actually a proof for Ibn Taymiyyah.
Yes.
This is a proof for him, because all of the 4 A'imma, these 4 A'imma of the Madhahib that he's talking about, the exact thing that happened to Ibn Taymiyyah happened to them. The rulers were corrupt. They wanted to force these scholars, these ulama, to make rulings and to cater to them. When they wouldn't, they beat them, they jailed them, they arrested them. They did it to Imam Ibn Hanbal. They did it to Imam Abu Hanifa, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Ibn Taymiyyah. So that is a proof for Ibn Taymiyyah, not against. You failed again, Reed. You failed again, William. I mean, you have to do better work. What you shouldn't have done was added the 4 qadis of each one of these 4 schools, because they're in the same category. They are giants of Islam. They have done great work. The 4 A'imma and Ibn Taymiyyah together with him. So, meanwhile, your claim that, well, he had a peaceful mouth. How do you know that? Number one,
Thank
but
you.
I mean, he had the opposite done to him. And if he was this great, you know, whatever, I don't know what was Sultan Bahu. I mean, I don't really know that much about Sultan Bahu, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. So Sultan Bahu, anything about his life is similar to anything people know about the life of Buddha. It's just people that just they're called in scholarly terms, it's called the hagiography. Is where someone makes up a history about somebody that is like a revered person in history when there's actually no documented proof, and everything is just a way to praise them. Oh, they never went to the bathroom, and like they never got dirty, and they never, like, just all these praiseworthy out of the world things. And like, you know, is like, you know, when you start reading goofy Sufi books, right? When it's just like, okay, they just saying whatever. So according to like these hagiographies about Sultan Bahu, about how he died, right? And again, when you go to scholars, they talk about hagiographies. Here's a quote about a hagiography. It is organized nonsense, right? That's what they call it. Organized nonsense, right? So they say that Sultan Bahu was born, whatever, and just so happens perfectly, he also died on the same exact day he was born.
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And guess what else? Guess what age he was when he died? What was the age of Rasul sallallahu?
Oh, the same age.
Of course, right? It's like you see these things, you're like, oh, really? Like that's what happened. Allah knows best. But if we go into the whole death thing, guess what? You just open up a door and we're gonna walk right into it right now. We're gonna walk right into it, right? This is for you guys TMWA people, and for, I guess we just found out that Akil considers himself a talib of Mubarak Jalani, but he doesn't follow TMWA administration, right?
Yes.
So you're a talib of Mubarak Jalani. You're a sheikh. Let's talk about how your sheikh died. Did he die a peaceful death? Would you consider a stroke, being paralyzed, not being able to recite the Shahada
or walk
while you're going? We call it years and years of pain and suffering and disease. Is that a peaceful death? And may Allah protect us for all that, and may that serve as a rectification for his sins, because we don't want, and we don't, again, this is not our position. We don't look at a person's death and be like, oh, that's a sign, whether they're truthful. It could be a sign, Allah knows best, but that's just speculating. And how many Sahabas didn't die a peaceful death? We can go into plenty of stories of Sahabas being executed, assassinated, hanged, murdered for them standing up for their religion. And are you saying, well, that's a sign that they weren't on the truth. They were on falsehood. Because he had a peaceful death, that means everything he possibly did and said is true. Use your common sense, because if you go by that route, that means you're actually disqualifying your sheikh from anything he actually claimed to be. And that whole comment about like he would have been, if the Risala Ruhi contained any shirk in it, he would have been arrested for shirk, right? And first of all, know a little bit about history. You just got to do a little research. He lived during the time of the Mughal Empire, which their Islam at best was very loose, very loose. At certain times, some of the emperors just made up their own religion, combining aspects of Hinduism, Buddhism, ism. Let's just make up our own thing. He definitely would not have been arrested for shirk, because they pretty much let everybody do what they wanted in India, because the Muslims were the minority and they were ruling a majority non-Muslim country. So if they started just executing all the people, like the majority of the country that was committing shirk, like all the Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, there wouldn't have been Muslim rulers for that long, right? Just think about it. Use your common sense. But yeah, go ahead. So again, this whole last paragraph, or 2-3 paragraphs, there's actually no proof from about the 7 sultans, and the only proof actually is stuff that refutes what he just said. And I want Amr to, because he talked about it, like he explained this very well in our chat about like using the same source as like your evidence for what you're claiming, like that whole idea of what he just did.
Okay, so right here, when he says the Sultan of Fuqar are clearly named in Risala Ruhi, or in the Risala Ruhi of Hazrat Sultan Bahu, right? All right. Your source, your evidence for what you believe in cannot be that one source, right? You have to provide multiple sources, multiple accounts of what you believe in, all right? So if you take it to basketball again, right? Someone says, okay, Jordan is the best player of all time, right? Okay. You would not just take Jordan saying that, you would take other players saying, okay, Jordan's the best of all time. You would take all the stats of that prove Jordan's the best of all time. You would take all the rings. So multiple arguments have to come into multiple facts. You can't just say, like, that would be like saying K2's a doctor because IQU says so, but he doesn't have a doctor from any other accredited university. Like William Reed is an Islamic teacher because he teaches at some one place, but not like anywhere else. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's the whole thing. When like real scholars, when you do scholarly work, you have primary sources, secondary sources. Yeah. I mean, it's like you're not a scholar. I think that should be clear from this document. I mean, that should be very clear that there's nothing scholarly about this work. Nothing. Not to mention it actually disproved itself. So to be clear, so no one gets lost in the sauce. I was reading the comments a second ago. Someone, General Ali, she's going on and on about talking about plagiarism or whatever. I don't know whether he's still on that or not. But let's be clear. Let's know that we've gone through this whole thing. We also need to. I don't know if we got time, but
I got time. I have it right here. Here. Just sitting wait.
But I mean, literally, we need to just if General Ali or anyone else is confused, maybe you stepped out or whatever, maybe you're gonna watch this later. Don't whatever like, oh, y'all shouldn't be just attacking him or whatever. You feel like we attacked him, okay, maybe we did. 74%. If you feel like we laughed too much, okay, yes, we laughed. Okay, we actually came into this thing saying we were going to try to be serious. It's too hard to be serious when this stuff is just too funny. Okay, but we did try. But the fact remains, this document actually proved that the 7 sultans is a fable based on this document. That's period. I think we made that very clear. Now, the Risala Ruhi for laymen, if anyone is still hanging on to it, will actually do the opposite. It will do so he tried to prove, bring forth evidence for it, okay, failed. Actually, we found evidence inside of this proof document that it should not be followed based on this document. Now, the Risala Ruhi for laymen will actually, if you read it, will actually break down completely 100% why the Risala Ruhi itself, even though this document says it's a fable, you can't follow it anyway, we're still going to do you a solid and, make sure that you can read that and we'll break it down. That way, we'll have all points covered. So after this, no one has the excuse, nor should anyone be following Jilani. The 7 sultans, anyone who says they're a sultan, track them down. You probably should, I don't want to advocate any violence, but you probably should tell the person that there's a 7 sultan running around somewhere right now doing boxing or whatever he does. But you tell him, tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, buddy, we actually know there's no such thing. Just give it up.
Yeah.
Whatever your name is, just go by your name. You're not the Mahdi 7 Sultan / or whatever. But the thing is, we've proved all the way around the full circle, it's all false. And if anyone, listen, seriously, if you're still confused about it, you can call any one of us. You can come on the show. You can contact us in any way, and we will explain it to you in detail if you haven't understood. But what we're saying very clearly is it's been proven without a shadow of a doubt, none of this stuff should be believed in. It's all fables, and the Risala Ruhi itself 100% is shirk. Full through and through. The end.
And just to give a little snippet of it, because we want to debunk this entire document, he claims that the Risala Ruhi is nothing but Quran and Sunnah and explaining Aqidah Iman in a beautiful way from the first page to the last word. That's his quote, right? So we're just going to give you a snippet of the stuff that's contained in the Risala Ruhi. Now it's paraphrased a little bit just so you could understand it clearly, but this is what Sultan Bahu wrote in Risala Ruhi that William Reed, aka Akil, said is a part of Aqidah and Iman. And I'm going to read the statements. And remember, the Risala Ruhi is only 8 pages. If you guys can't find time to read 8 pages of your doctrine to see whether it's true or false, then something's wrong, right? There's 8 pages, and here I'm going to provide you with 10 statements where Sultan Bahu calls himself Allah. 8 pages, 10 times he called himself Allah. Listen, 8 pages, 10 times he called himself Allah. And I'm going to read the statements. And Mubarak, just for you listeners, just think for yourself about these statements and what ayats or hadiths you know that you probably recite every day that clearly refute these things that Sultan Bahu says in Risala Ruhi that allegedly, I hope William Akil Reed doesn't believe in this anymore, but allegedly he believes in this. And he's falsely attributing this to Islam and has nothing to do with Islam. If he does believe in this, he should really go speak to someone qualified and really learn Aqidah and Iman, the first part of it, of La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. There is no God but Allah. There is no God but Allah. So the first statement, he says, if you lift the veil, you will observe that everything is Allah.
Allah already says in Quran, I can't remember the ayah right now, but Allah says in Quran that Allah, his no sight can see Allah, and his sight, and he is able to see all things. So therefore, whatever veil you're lifting, you're not seeing Allah. So that's contrary to the Quran and the belief and the ijma' of the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, which he says Salafis are not part of. Why? He said it in an email. I guess he said that somewhere else. I don't know if he said it.
We're gonna cover that.
Okay, yeah. But the point is, from A, there's Quran that refutes that outright. So that simple statement alone would eliminate Risala Ruhi. If you were hanging on to it, point one, it's eliminated. But we will continue.
Yep. And remember, this is, Allah protect us. This is what Sultan Bahu is saying, and it's not me. I don't want anybody to even think that I believe in any of this. But Sultan Bahu says in Risala Ruhi, he says, Allah told me, you are me and I am you.
Wow. Allah says, Laysa kamithlihi shay, there is none like unto him. Allah already says, so the Ikhlas, as we all know, say he is Allah, the one and only, the eternal, the absolute. He is not begotten, nor does he doesn't beget, nor is he begotten, and there is no one comparable to him. No one is like him. So there's no, basically what he is saying, as Allah is saying, there's no one comparable. He's only one. So when he's saying you are me and I am you, he's saying he's Allah. And Allah is saying there's only one Allah. This is not true. So, I mean, if you believe this, you believe that Allah told him, then if you believe that, be very explicit. If you believe that Allah told someone that they were Allah too, then you're non-Muslim. So go ahead and re-enter, because this is not in conformity with Islam. It's just not part of it.
Yeah. Then he says, and if anybody knows anything about a famous person that was executed for shirk, that all Sufis, he says, I am Haq.
Mm-hmm.
I am the same exact statement that Al-Hallaj said. I am Haq. He also said, this one was like really mind-boggling. He said, I am, get this. He says, I am, or my name is, or my title is, Ya Allah.
We can just replay from B. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, like literally, you really just sort of the ikhlas will eliminate all of these. You know, really.
Yep.
I mean, it is almost, it like makes your skin crawl actually seeing these like written. Someone read it. Someone actually like thought it, said it, wrote it down. I mean, I can only think of one being on the planet that would do it, in Shaitan. I only think Shaitan would actually either do it or would inspire someone to do it. Shaitan might even be too scared to actually do it himself, but he will, try to trick other people into doing it. Which, I mean, I am Ya Allah.
He says, erase the sense of self and praise your body and soul until you become Allah.
I mean,
he says, and I'm gonna go through them fast because the more we pause, the more we're just gonna start like losing it.
Literally, they literally can be refuted, but with this, all you need to know. This is all you need to know. Allah does not mix with His creation, as Allah says. He is one, the only one. Okay, Laysa kamithlihi shay. He's not like anything else. If you know this, there's nothing comparable to Him. No one can see Him, but He sees everything. Once you understand these few concepts, nothing here will fit into any category that's part of Islam.
Yep. And he says, when a saint excels, he is Allah. He said, it is correct to consider me Allah. He says, I am Allah's Nur. He said, my body is a veil. The rest of me is Allah. He said, it is okay to consider my statements as statements from Allah. I have been instructed to, this is not a shirk one, I'll cover that at the end. The last one, he says, I am Allah's spirit and Allah is my spirit. So those are, and then the last thing he said that it always cracks me up when I read it, because it's just, you're literally calling Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah, the Sahabas, you're calling them all liars, because he said that Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, instructed him to guide mankind, the living and the dead. That's his job, to guide the living and the dead. That means Rasulullah Sallallahu
yeah, there's probably over, I know of at least 25, 50 ayahs. There's probably even more than that, if you really comb through it, that talk about that after a person dies, that's it. There's no going back, you know? There's no going back. There's no guiding a person after they die. When you died, it's over. Allah says there's when your time is up, that's it. So what are you talking about guiding the living and the dead? This is contrary to Islam. I mean, Allahu Akbar. This is the Quran, the Sunnah, and everything else is you can use to refute this mess.
For to go back to William Reed, Akil's statement of this is supposedly explaining Aqidah in a beautiful way. Na'udhu billahi. This is not beautiful whatsoever. This should either make you laugh to cover up the anger, angry, furious, depressed that you actually were fooled to believe and follow this nonsense. Like this is ridiculous. Go read it yourselves. You might have to read it a few times because they put it in flowery, confusing language that you might not catch all these, but really break it down. And we do that for you in the Risala Ruhi for laymen, which in a month or two, we will go into that into detail and have a presentation, a video that you guys can access. But at this point, people, wake, I want to curse, wake up. Wake up. If I came to any of you right now and I said, hey, protect me, I'm Allah, listen to me. Y'all can be like, what? Man, get my face. What the hell are you talking about? But you're following someone who just said that. And you're following someone who's teaching that and teaching us that he's the same thing. Because this is the whole concept of 7 sultans. Sheikh Mubarak Jilani believes in this and taught it, and he believes he's on the same level as Sultan Bahu, where Sultan Bahu is saying that he is Allah. Think about that. And for this, may Allah forgive me, but it's the truth. For this fool, William Akil Reed, to say that this explains Iman in a beautiful way and everything in it from the first page to the last word is nothing but the Holy Quran and the Sunnah in line with Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that is a lie, or he's ignorant, or both.
Really?
Or he never actually ever read one word of it.
I mean,
seriously.
He did say that it doesn't have any Sharia inside of it or Islamic law. So I mean, that was true. So
yeah, that's true.
A little point for you there, but y'all listen, y'all old heads, listen. I said this a couple weeks ago. Stop being so scared. I don't know like what goes on in your minds when it comes to the 7 sultans and Jilani, but whenever it comes to this, y'all just like y'all are shook, right? Like William Reed found out that we were gonna talk about this on the show. He had a whole paragraph. Hold on. Find this paragraph. I got you. Right here. He said, cease and desist notice to R2F and James Griffin. Please be advised and put on notice that the paper Proof of the 7 Sultans of Fitrah, authorized by William Reed, is under copyright, and the brand Islamic Study Guild, ISG, is legally registered. The unauthorized use or of the stated material or the stated registered brand will be met with legal action. Okay, buddy. Good luck at that. William Reed is a private citizen of the United States. To use his name on YouTube without his express written permission is a violation of YouTube's privacy policy. Thank you for understanding. P.S. This means do not use my paper, name, or brand on your YouTube channel. William Reed, ISG. William Reed, we're gonna use your name and your brand and your paper. Stop being terrified. I like you were confident enough to copy and paste all this BS together in the little thing. Stand by it. Stand behind it. Stand with it. Because now it's like, oh no, no, leave me alone. No. This is you. So William Reed, this is all you. Brother Akil, this is all you. So stand with it. Be confident now.
But look, so it shows even more about the cowardice in it is because, so just to give people context of what happened, someone who is in contact with his associates or whatever, I guess offered like, hey, would you be willing to talk to them? We didn't reach out. We didn't know who this person was. Right. And I guess he's like, oh yeah, I'm not talking on the phone. I'm not talking via text message, but they can email me questions that they have. Nigga, we don't have any questions for you about this. We have no questions. So, but we were like, all right, well, we are going to be talking about him in his document. So we'll give him a chance to respond. We sent him the draft of all of our rebuttal points to his document, right? He must not have read it first because he responded back very arrogantly, like how we did. Admittedly, we apologized for it. There was some words in our notes that could have been interpreted as being offensive. And he was like, well, you guys are offensive. You guys are disrespectful. And he made reference to that word, the same age as his son, all these different things, right? So we apologize. Sorry for being disrespectful. That wasn't our intent. But, you know, you can respond to whatever you want to put in this. And then also check the few, like some other points that he made in his email. We responded to him thoroughly as we do. And he responded to that with basically saying, wa alaikum salam or something like that. Like end of conversation. Alaikum salam, may Allah bless you and your family. Okay, we're done talking. That was in the morning. By that night, he must have read our document and been like, oh, excuse my language, oh shit. Whoa, what the hell? And then he issues us a cease and desist. Because in the first response, he said, he said, I got to get the words because the words are classic. He said,
wait, I don't have it. I'm sorry. I don't have it.
He said, okay, he said, the paper that I wrote on the blessed 7 Sultan of Fakhr has proof from the Quran Kareem, Hadith Sharif, and the classic scholars of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. By refuting the paper, you are, in fact, refuting the Quran Kareem, Hadith Sharif, and the classic scholars of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Then he says randomly, Salafi are not part of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, but you are Muslims with all rights of Muslims. One right is respect, which you did not show me. So we never mentioned anything about Salafis. He declared that everything he wrote is in line, is the statements of the Quran, Hadith, and statements of the scholars, right? And now then he issues a cease and desist. Don't talk about my paper. Don't use it. Don't even mention my name. For the sake of Allah, don't mention my name, please.
Please leave me alone.
Like, come on, man. Seriously?
I mean, you went to the point. I mean, you went so far as to manufacture what we figured out was fake immediately. Cease and desist. I mean, like that joke was a joke, as was your paper that you started with. I mean, you keep doing this, yo. I mean, we're not the smartest people. We're not the smartest people in the world, but I think it's very clear that we're smarter than you. I mean, you're trying stuff, and it's like, stop. You should stop.
Well, you know why? Because it probably worked on people like his son, maybe. I don't know, because he referenced us being the same age as his son. Maybe that stuff works on him. It's not going to work on us. Sorry. So just so you know, we talked about everything being copy and pasted, right? You cannot claim copyright on something you plagiarized.
Didn't you yourself?
So, there's software where you can just check it to see if what you wrote was plagiarized.
So, once again, if you're in any form of higher education, right, after first grade, right, generally you don't take other people's work, right, and just claim it as your own. Generally, that's how it works, right? And so, if you are thinking, okay, maybe someone else used this, the teachers, professors, as you go on, will always say, make sure your work is your own. You can check this out online. Hey, just check all that stuff, right? So we're gonna run this through here, right? Okay, I did it beforehand because I want to knock the time. 74% That means that majority of this is literally not you. Look at
that means basically for every 4 words, only 4 letters, only one
of them is
was
yours.
something that he could have. And you know what? That 74%, the 26% was probably the Ibn Taymiyyah rant and the little joint at the end. So basically, the whole joint. Let me see something.
It was the last section, and Cleveland State asked me to write this. That was like the only thing he wrote by himself.
That's it. Whole thing is plagiarized. Literally, the whole thing is plagiarized, except for his K1 told me to write this, and his sucker punching, at Ibn Taymiyyah. That's it. I mean, he did no work. I mean, this is terrible. I mean, even down to the point where these plagiarism checkers, right? You see how where we saw that adhan was spelled with a Z instead of a TH, and that comes with certain like things like that. It will pick up on that, certain things that would be unique to a certain document in a certain time, certain area, whatever the case may be. It'll pick up on that. So for those people who don't know how plagiarism checkers work, what you need to do, and I can tell you from experience, what you have to do, you have to switch the words around. You have to take it and you have to move some stuff. You have to do a little bit of work. Actually, plagiarizing is it's actually harder. It's actually harder because you're spending so much time moving the words around and running through the plagiarism checker to actually get yourself outside of the percentage that they won't even accept. Like this paper would have been rejected. Like the first thing that the professor would have run it through the plagiarism checker and said the plagiarism is too high. You have to do this again. This whole thing is someone else's work. But what you next time, William Reed, if you didn't know this, what you have to do is you have to switch some things around. Just like you probably don't say adhan with a Z. You probably don't say azan. You probably say adhan, just based on probably where you're from. So that's something that you can easily do. Switch that word around to the correct one. That probably will take your plagiarism score down a little bit. And for most papers, it's like, isn't it like has to be less than 20% or 15%?
Yes, that's 20%. And Mr. William Reed, all right, because you are a teacher at the ISG, generally at the last page, after you finish your little closing statement about Ibn Taymiyyah, you just threw out, you go into right here, you go to the middle, all right, and then you type in works cited, all right? So this gives credit to everyone, all the work that you stole. You say, okay, I got this from this. That's how it works generally. You have to have your quotations. You have to have your citations here. You just take it and just leave it alone. This is the F. I'm giving you an F, sir. I'm sorry. All right, you're getting an F. You failed the paper.
I mean, but how did he become so proud in defending his work after the fact? He like wound up with the little Islamic Studies Guild copyright 2022 on there. But beforehand, you ain't had nothing on there. It's like you.
Well, you know why? It's because Allah knows best, but there's a few reasons there are a few possibilities of why he's actually concerned. So one high probability is that he's afraid of being exposed, right? Because some of his students are probably going to watch this and be like, I'm probably not going to next class, right? Yeah. He's also maybe afraid of if he actually does have other teachers that are not from the Jamaat that he works with to teach, they're probably gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, Akil, what the hell are you into? What do you believe?
You ain't tell me this, brother.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Listen, no. I mean, you know what they should do? Really, they should get that nigga up out of there. Get him up out of there.
Yeah,
If the Islamic Studies Guild is actually like they teach the basic, straightforward, according to the Quran and Sunnah Islamic studies, they should get him the heck up out of there ASAP. He don't got no business there. I mean, listen, if anyone can find the Islamic Studies Guild, if anyone can find it, I don't know, we got to talk to the treasurer, but I think we should give them a reward for tracking down the Islamic Studies Guild or any sort of person, individual, something that we can find these people, because they need to be, let's just say this. We would like to, we're all students. We're all students of knowledge. We would like, if the Islamic Studies Guild might have something to offer, we would like to check it out. Let's just leave it at that. But if anybody can give us any information on the Islamic Studies Guild, we would greatly appreciate it. They might have to talk to the treasurer and see if some sort of reward could be issued for their efforts. At least some
Starbucks gift card or something.
Something.
One Jelani buck.
One Jelani buck. Good for nothing.
Exactly.
a gift card to Baba G's. A Baba G's gift card. You get a free
Baba G's gift card. A diploma from IQU University.
you get a scholarship to IQOU.
We forgot the so just so y'all haven't know, this right now is part of our show is now this is freestyle. We are open, right? So we tried our best to be professional through the rebutting of this thing. And I hope it's clear to everybody. And I hope people don't get caught up on any one particular point. Like the plagiarism thing is that just shows that this guy is not a qualified person to be speaking on anything. But just within the content of what he provided, it's very clear that one, he did not provide any proof of the 7 sultans and actually disproved the 7 sultans and made a few statements that are false. But it's very clear that this stuff still, 1,500 days, no one has been able to provide any proof or defense for the concept of the 7 sultans. So, but there's some other things that we got to kind of talk about just like off the cuff, because, and the one thing I want to mention just to bring it back is we forgot like the funniest part about this whole cease and desist bluff, right? Is that he resent us his paper and put at the bottom copyright.
You got a works cited page, buddy. Come on. Try again, buddy.
With the little C and everything.
You found a way to do it. You got the font and everything. I mean, hey, listen, bravo.
That nigga is lazy, bro. There's no way.
You get an A for effort.
For all video stuff.
Yeah, you can't copyright something that ain't yours.
Yeah.
I mean, 75% of the paper is not yours. The rest of it is just ramblings about Ibn Taymiyyah and Khalif Hussein. So no, sorry. I mean, I like the thought. I mean, you're just thinking on your feet. You're thinking quick, but you got beat again. I mean, you got beat again. You know what you probably should have done? You probably should have took the Nur and Hussein Adams route. I mean, I tried to call Hussein Adams last week. He blocked me immediately.
I messaged him twice. He didn't even try to respond. He was like, nah.
I'll tell you what he was thinking. As soon as he seen those messages, like, I ain't blocked these niggas yet.
But you
if I haven't blocked you yet, I'm sure it's around the corner.
The funny thing about it, because I realized that I had not been blocked. Ahmed Person blocked me way early. Ahmed Person blocked me before I even knew that I was like, I realized I was like, this nigga Ahmed Person. I realized I'm blocked. I'm like, damn, how you gonna block somebody that they don't even know? I mean, literally, they're thinking about you, right? But Hussein Adams, I realized I wasn't blocked. So I was like, when the time is right, I'm just gonna shoot him a message or something. Yeah, I left him a long voice message. I don't know if he listened to it or not. I think he immediately was like, "This nigga block." Like,
not this either. No.
And the thing about it, it was very nice. It was a nice, respectful message. I mean, it just how you doing? How's your family? I saw your video, and we can talk about it. I mean, just block me. I mean, just block me straight up.
And that's the same guy that said, "I ain't about being quiet. I ain't about saying nothing." It's the same guy. Same guy.
So William Reed, let me give you some pointers. I mean, if you're gonna roll with TMOA, we're gonna do you a solid. The number one thing you do is, no matter how badly you're being bludgeoned, no matter how badly we're on your backside, never say anything, because we probably still will run you. Because Hussein is still getting run. I mean, Nur still winds up, making her way into the show, but still, I mean, this happened simply because what you should have done was, you should have been like, "Yo, it's me, William Reed. I would appreciate it if you didn't use my paper on your show. It was a mistake on my part. I really need to do some revisions to it. I need to make some corrections. And when I make those corrections, then I'll send it back. And then you can just take forever making the corrections. Yeah. We will eventually be like, yo, this nigga ain't never gonna make the corrections. Let's do the show. But still, it would have bought you some time.
You could have been saved from writing this terrible paper having it published.
But these people gotta realize, alhamdulillah, Allah saved us from becoming them, right? He saved us by, and you see it all the time when people turn like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do my best to follow what Allah and Rasul said. There's a certain courage that just comes automatically with that, right? And with you guys, and we see it with Hussein Abdullah, we see it with Mr. Wadud or Dr. McStuffins, we see it with this guy Akil, we see it with Hussein Adams, we see it with all these people that are trying to stick to this falsehood and the shirk of the Seven Sultans and TMOA and following Jelani. They become cowards. They become straight up cowards. Straight up, if TMOA had a show and they were like, oh yeah, Jafar, come on here and defend your beliefs, I'll be right on there. They might make me look like a fool, they might edit what I say, I would not give a crap, right? Because I'm doing it for Allah's sake. So Akil, you were literally afraid, and you tried to use tactics that probably work on you, scare tactics. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. We do not care, we do not fear you, we do not fear any of that. We fear Allah. And Allah gives us, when you have those certain fear, alhamdulillah, Allah shows you certain things. And there's a I don't know if it's a hadith or a saying by one of the Sahabas, but it's fear the insight of the believer. We've seen right through your crap. Look at, as Amr said, on Wednesday, you issued a cease and desist order. On Saturday, we're wearing t-shirts mocking your cease and desist order.
We were ready for that.
Like, that stuff's not going to scare us. You know what does scare us is when you come back and say, hey, I have proof from the Quran, the Hadith, the Quran and Sunnah, Ahl Sunnah Jamaat. Let's talk about it. You guys are violating that. I'm violating the Quran and Sunnah. Yep. Oh, let's talk. Wait, hold on. Tell me, what am I doing? Fix me, right? We will have that conversation. You don't have enough fear in the law that we're telling you in public that you are following falsehood. Do you have enough fear from the law to say, you know what? Let me listen to what they're saying. Maybe I'm wrong.
Can you really say that you believe in something that you're afraid to even discuss? Like, literally, you got fake medical personnel getting ostracized for literally saying they won't engage with us. A nigga says they won't talk to us, and they get. It's like, that's how scared y'all are. Loyal members are getting run for them, literally for just in everything. Y'all got to wake up. Y'all got to really realize that if you are this frozen, stuck, nobody. YouTube is free. All you got, literally, it takes like less than 60 seconds to make an email address, and you have a channel, and you could just be like, one of y'all, what y'all, you just be like, yeah, we believe this XYZ. And if it's true, if it has truth and merit, and it's based on Quran and Sunnah, you will find us there with you, supporting you, helping you, collaborating, whatever it might be. If it ain't, we're simply going to do it the nice way. Then we started this channel, this whole thing, in a very nice way. Jafar actually sent the letter, the most respectful, nice letter ever, started the whole thing off, asking some questions after spending years transcribing these things. And now we're here, cease and desist. Just mopping the floor with these very smart but not very smart people. It's like we don't really want to get in these squabbles and have to dust people like this, but they're asking for it, and if it gets people attention, we'll keep doing it. We kind of enjoy it, honestly, but still, the point is, at the end of the day, we want people to think, use your brain, and realize there's no defense for this. We're literally mopping the floor with everything. It's not us, it's the Quran and the Sunnah, but still, it is being destroyed. And not one person among you, besides some few people in small private refutation groups that no one even knows exists, I mean, are saying a few things, but will literally fight anyone else in the group if they leak it. But we still find out. But the point is, I mean, come on now. Yep. It's time to leave. It's time to move on to the next phase. What are you going to do next? Yep. That's really what you need to start thinking about.
And it's crazy how, like, even internally they can't even talk about this. It's like how many, like, you got, if anybody knows, I might be dating myself, but anybody knows Jeff Foxworthy. Like, his whole comedy bit was like, you're a redneck when, and like that was all his jokes, just all these different signs that you're a redneck. You're in a cult when you can't ask questions. You're in a cult when you can't defend your own beliefs, even privately. Like, how many do you're in a cult when do you have to, like, realize when you feel like, yeah, I'm in a cult? How many? Like, it's and we can go on and on, but it's really ridiculous at this point. And you guys have to wake up to, like, you, especially like y'all elders, the ones that are started this, the ones that are responsible for this. Mubarak Jelani's gone now. He's gone. His teachings have been thoroughly refuted, debunked, and showed that it's a bunch of bullcrap. Straight up. He's a fraud. He's a charlatan. He's not a scholar. There's really, how many, we could prove it a million ways to Sunday. He was gone for 40 years, 30, 40 years. Now the responsibility for where y'all are right now, for where, and I know y'all don't like it. We know y'all elders do not like following any female imam, but that's where you're at. Even though how you say, yeah, she ain't my imam. Yes, she is. Yes. Because she will kick your ass off the land. She's your imam. She's your imam, whether you want to like it or not. And you won't say that to her face, will you? Nope. You only bet you won't go up to her and say, oh, you're not my imam. She'll kick you right off. Right? You'll keep it silent and talk amongst your family members. That'll keep it quiet and like, oh yeah, you're still the man, you're still the Khalifa, you're still the first Talib. No, Hussein Udallah, she's your imam. You're in the Jamaat. Your sheikh said she's in charge of you.
Isn't that his daughter?
No.
Okay.
No. So all y'all elders that are on the same page are like, yeah, I'm still down. I still believe in Mubarak Jelani and all this and that, but that ain't my administration. She's not my imam. I ain't down with that. Your sheikh put her in charge. You're still here. You know why? Because you followed his fraud behind 40 years ago. And then you guys are the ones for 30 plus years that kept his fraud going. He wasn't here collecting money. Y'all were here doing that. He wasn't here beating people, locking people up, imposing his fake EGM therapies, all these different transgressions that you guys have been doing in his name with his support. Y'all saying Abuji said, y'all were the ones who did this. Yes, he has his responsibility and he's dealing with it right now as we speak. Now we're going to start calling y'all out now. And Noor and his kids and all the administration that are keeping this fraud going. Someone had the nerve to tell me in a conversation how responsible and how much integrity and honor Sultan Shah has. And I said, nigga, how responsible is a man that's never had a job? How much integrity does a man have that he collects money from people that are forced to pay it to him? This man has 2 wives, tried to force a young girl to become his 3rd wife, and have their parents and family pay for their survival.
How responsible is a man who knows he's overweight and stays that way for no reason? Like
the delusion that some of these people have to just turn their backs on reality is astounding to me. Like, you cannot tell, like, it's ridiculous. And you guys just willingly follow it. Why? Because you want to go to the next Eid. You want to go to the next Milad. You want to go to the next wedding or henna party. That's what you're doing this for? And then someone says, like, one of the defenses is, well, it's very important to be a part of a community. No, it's not. It's very important to be part of the community. That is the community of the billions of Muslims that are around the world, not the deviant cult community of TMOA that believes statements that their sheikh taught them. Yeah, believe in the seven sultans. Believe that I'm Allah. Believe that I'm Haq. Believe that my body is just a veil and everything inside of me is Allah. Believe this stuff. Bull crap, man. Wake up. And you're following this crap, and then you're running around, you're throwing off wolf tickets to, like as you said, your children. And now you see your children standing up with honor, dignity, integrity, and calling you on your crap. How debasing is that?
I mean, how about we do something really simple, and that is we sat here and we completely eviscerated the proof document. Okay, it's not proof anymore. I think even the lifers, even the haters, they gotta realize, okay, that ain't proof. All right, so simply, unless you guys are simpletons and don't have a shred or any just common sense, computer skills, you know where a library is, you know where the local masjid is, you know Islamic books, resources, anything, whatever, find the best one amongst you. Find a group amongst you. Call a mandatory Jamaat meeting, confiscate the phones, and have people come together and say, let's find the sources once and for all. Let's all get together. Let's comb through the Quran. Let's comb through the Sunnah. Let's comb through the Islamic sources, and let's actually put together a true proof document for the Risala Ruhi and the seven sultans. Let's do it. Get together. This is your belief. Your number one talib didn't have it. So, I mean, that's the next step. You all get together. Come together, say, we need to find this proof. We believe it. We know it's there. We just need to produce the proof. Our belief is strong. We know it's there. Let's open up the Quran. Let's go to the 6 books of Hadith. Let's start there because they're the most authentic. Let's comb through it for 7 sultans, Risala Ruhi, whatever it is we believe in. I guarantee you what you will find is the truth. So you can't lose. Come together, get all together and do it.
Yeah. So is there any, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in the chats. That's pretty much our show for tonight. We had to go over because we wanted to cover all this in one shot. It would have lost our momentum. But as just to summarize our show, why people type in their questions that they may have, and maybe we'll search from ones that were posted already, is that we started this show addressing the proof, the document entitled Proof of the Seven Sultans, authored by, or plagiarized, I should say, plagiarized by Akil William Reed. We went through how it's absolutely no proof whatsoever. We talked briefly about our interactions with William Reed and how he issued a fake cease and desist order and also lied about having his document magically copyrighted in one day. So we talked about some of the implications of all the different things within that document, and just the reaction that supposedly Akil said that his document was nothing but in line with the Holy Quran and the Sunnah, and then moments later being afraid that his document would be publicized or covered on our show, or that we would even actually mention his name. So it's very clear for anybody. If anybody in TMOA was like relying on that document, and this is why we had to address it, because people that are in cult systems, you know, they try to find any little thing to hang on to. Like, for instance, that General Ali, he maybe he's cleared up now, but he was trying to focus on the plagiarism thing. Like, that was like, he wanted, but don't ignore all the other stuff that we talked about that clearly debunks this whole thing, right? And that's what people do. So, like, don't let this falsehood give you an excuse to keep following falsehood. Learn Islam from the beginning. We all did. All the people that come from TMOA, we've all done the same thing. We started from the basics and relearned our Islam. And once you go through your first Aqidah class, a real Aqidah class that's in accordance to the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'at, you will be able to destroy every concept in your cult. I guarantee you. You will learn what does La ilaha illallah mean? And you're like, wow, that'll just then when you learn what does Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mean, and that right there, if you learn the basics of that, it debunks all the false teachings that we had in TMOA. Like what Mark said, we could just keep quoting one ayat to debunk all those statements that Sultan Bahu was making in Risala Ruhi. One ayat, but there's dozens of them in the Holy Quran, Hadith. So if there's any questions, please chat. Or did you find any questions, Amr or Mubarak,
Nope.
in the chats?
We have a question though from Zoom. Do you think they will still promote Noor as a seventh sultan, or will they leave the crap alone? I think Noor is kind of chalked for the seventh sultan. I don't know how he comes from Egypt and just like, oh, I'm a lead niggas now. Like, I ain't found my nigga. So like, I don't know why any of you would like. I'm gonna have to see him like move the moon again, like his dad did, according to them. So if he didn't do that, then it's chalked.
Yeah, I mean, they're best. I think like who knows what they'll do, but you could see from us that's been watching this for years now. You see Allah doing different things to kind of guide people away from that. I mean, we told them like their best bet is just abandon the whole concept. These people in TMWA, they still have this undying, rational love and support for you guys. They'll still follow you guys. And the fact that you're actually promoting the Quran and the Sunnah, you actually will do better. You'll do better. Promote the Quran and Sunnah, abandon seven sultans, say, you know what, we don't believe in it anymore. We're going to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. You want to say, okay, our leaders have to be Ahlul Bayt, fine, whatever, go ahead, do that. But follow the Quran and the Sunnah. That's their best bet. But we already know that they've claimed that he's even something above the seven sultans. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
I hope that ever actually comes out, because whenever we did the K2, listen, Noor, your ass. Listen,
we got the perfect clip for him.
You about to get smoked.
Yo, Mike Russell asks, why didn't the EGM doctors heal Jelani?
Well,
that's a good question, actually. That's a very good question.
Great question. And I believe you know how drug dealers say you can't get high off your own supply. That's probably what happened there. He was just like, I'm not able to heal myself. Everyone else though I can, but not me. No, personally.
Lipo section. I mean, did any of them do liposuction?
Cardio.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's just again the thing is even when we were in TMOA and on the juice, we knew this stuff was lies. I remember seeing that picture of Hussein Adams in the list. Like, these guys are stupid. It's lies. Whenever they mention IQOU, there's no IQOU. We all know this stuff are lies. But it's when you start thinking about it, it's why are we lying about so much? Well, it's because
what was the joke where what did we Hussein Adams, his little deposition or whatever, they asked him about, about his work history, education, everything, and in all that he never mentioned that he was a alumni of IQOU. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people, they literally don't mention it. I wonder if they don't TMA have somebody who's running for office somewhere in some Massachusetts.
Tahira Wadud, she ran or is still running for a senator position or something.
I wonder if we could check her webpage or whatever and see if she has listed as being a alumnus, or did she go to spend any time, get any credits at IQOU.
Well, if she did, one of her platforms is that she wants to legalize marijuana.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is
Muslim senator legalizing drugs?
Well,
trying to get the black vote, obviously.
Someone should introduce her to Islam, because I mean, Allahu Akbar. Yeah.
Oh wait. About the document for the disposition on Hussein Adams, if you want to share that, or if you guys want me to share that, we can go for that real quick.
What's that? The
hold on, I'll share it right here.
I just think it's sad that he never mentioned that he
Dr.
was a
Hussein Adams. It says, question: would you please give us your educational background? Answer: let's see, 2 years civil engineering, Seneca College. Also, I've taken some social science courses at Binghamton University. So why did he mention he has a doctorate though at IQOU? I'm sorry. What kind of courses? Just social sciences. Do you have a degree? No, I do not. So I thought he was a doctor though. So like, how is this working? How is this working? Do you have a high school diploma? Yes, I do. Did you go to a government-run high school or were you homeschooled? Both. All right. Can you explain that, please? Can I explain that? Yeah. Well, I graduated from a government-owned ran high school, but I was also homeschooled prior to. Okay. And what high school did you receive your Plain Ridge Secondary High School? Is that in Binghamton area? No, that's in Canada. He was at Canada High School. He out here. Look at him.
He made that shit up.
A world traveler. And since high school, would you give me your work experience, please? What?
Fucking work experience.
I
think he had a job. Well, actually, now he works. I guess he works down at the Urban League.
Urban League.
Yeah. Referee. I guess he probably has to do it for like school or something. I bet because I know the last I knew he was going to school to become a paralegal, which is a lawyer's secretary.
Wait. So he's gonna be a lawyer and a doctor. He's like freaking the Cosby parents. Like not
a lawyer, a lawyer secretary.
Oh, okay, sorry, I apologize. I mean, well, that'll help him with his secretary to Jelani. Okay. So
obviously, his EGM duties take up too much of his time.
Starting in high school, what jobs have you held? And if you'd give it to me in sequence,
I really want to know who the first person was to suggest that he should dress up as a doctor. I mean, I wonder, was it Dr. Jamil who suggested it? And then he just was like, yo, seriously, they couldn't have got me to do that. I would have been like, yo, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not sitting here in cosplay. I'm not going to do it.
It was probably his own suggestion. It was probably, wait, you going to put doctor on his picture? Hold on. You got a lab coat in your car? Give me that lab coat.
He probably took his lab coat. Probably took Jamil's lab coat.
No. It's like I told you yesterday, right? Last week. This nigga thinks he's better than me? He thinks he's better than me? Hell no. I'm Dr. K too. You know,
like Dr. Jamil like went pouting off like,
man, I retired for this. In 20 years I suffered for this. He said just random. I worked at restaurants. I own my own business. I worked through the tip agencies quite a bit, and that's about it. Where about to work as a therapist though? Like you didn't mention that. You just forgot after that when you were reading the question about the government.
But these are like these are lies. You never went to no damn temp agency to work. Like, come on. You imagine like everybody knows what a temp. Everybody's ever went to a temp agency to work. Could you imagine Hussein Adams going and getting in line? Waiting for a job from the temp agency. Come on, man.
You know what? I would pay money to see where he does get a job at a temp agency, where the 23-year-old little supervisor, because he'd been there 2 months before Hussein got there, so he supervised him, basically like, yo, pick those rocks up and put them in the wheelbarrow.
What? You know who I am?
What? You know who I am? Yeah, no. Mr. Adams, you're not gonna get the 50-cent bonus if you don't listen to the supervisor. So
I got a quick story.
He's gonna put the lab boys on them real quick. He's gonna be like, yo, lab boys, handle this for me. How dare he talk to me?
Quick true story. And it always all the funny stories go back to something my brother did. So when he owned his restaurant, he's talking about here, Abu's House of Halal. So when they first opened up, he was working in there. You know, he was taking orders and serving people. And I remember me and my brother went there to eat, and Hussein comes out with our food. And of course, my brother's like, "Yeah, I'm getting served by a Khalifa now." No lie. Within that same week, a message supposedly came from Jelani that Cleveland Hussein can't work in there. He can't serve anybody. And he stopped working. He stopped working in there. He never worked in there ever again.
Yo. Oh my goodness. We need to do a whole it's late now. We need to actually
there it is of halal, Abu's House of Halal.
Yep. Abu's House of Halal. Of Halal, HALAL. What happened to the business? Couldn't keep up with the rent. Currently, I'm the owner of Babaji Enterprises. This sounds like a freaking starship on freaking Star Trek, like Babaji Enterprise.
Yo, what's the name? What's that? Who's that saying in the comments? TMOA 10th agency. Could you imagine TMOA had a 10th agency? Them niggas first would be taken right off the top. First of all, they probably wouldn't even be getting paid. Yo, you had to sign up. You had to come
there to work for their
10th
temp agency, do like 12 hours of work in a day. You come back and get your check, and that jumps negative. You still owe us $50.
Wait,
what are you talking about?
It's gonna be negative and say peace and Allah. And then it's gonna have a note. It's gonna have a note like, "Sir, we get paid." Something like, "You guys are too focused on these worldly desires. All right, the Sahabas were all poor. You're poor too. Keep it that way."
I mean, can somebody, just for the sake of yourselves, get a little bit of courage? We won't tell Noor that you talked to us. We promise. We won't tell her. But we just come and like we will. You want, like Mubarak said, Hussein, Abdullah, you want proof of the 7 sultans? We'll give you all the proof. We'll give you all the arguments that the other 6 sultan put out there, his group. Because they're the only ones that got like some kind of proof to it that, again, it doesn't make any sense. But we'll give you that and let you read it. And then let's have a conversation afterwards to see if you still believe it. And we'll talk about the different things and all the different things from the Quran and Sunnah that violate this. We just read you 10 statements where Sultan Bahu said he's Allah. Do you believe in that? Go read it yourself. Confirm what we're saying. Just one person defend this. And for the people that like, I think for me, I don't know what it is for y'all, but the people, the apologists actually get me more angry than like the diehard Jamatis. Because like they say in one breath, like, yeah, I know this is wrong, but like that but, and then all the justifications for everything they do and believe in after that, it's just like a bunch of nonsense. And it really like, it's like, yo, really, when are you gonna wake up? Like you're half stepping here.
Yep. Like your boy, whoever General Ali is. I mean, actually I know who it is, but General Ali need to. I mean, come on, man. I mean, you can't keep riding that fence. I mean, your backside is going to start getting sore riding that fence like that. Just TMOA, it's dead. It's dead. Just go all the way out and then stop. And instead of trying to figure out ways to, find some sort of silver lining or something, there ain't no silver lining. Just basically take the position that we take, which is it's all bullcrap until you can prove to me anything is not. Anything they got to do with TMOA is false. Bring me the proof that it ain't. That's where they are right now. So you don't know, did they plagiarize? But you're just talking about plagiarism. That should be enough, really. If someone acts like they did something and they lied about it, that person should not be trusted with anything. They're a liar. I mean, that's what a plagiarism is. That's you lying about your work. A scholar would know that, but we went over that.
Well, not even a scholar, a student.
A student would know that.
And a student know it, you know what I mean? And even like the whole theme of like the plagiarism, it all goes back to even the founder of TMOA, Mubarak Jilani. He plagiarized this whole concept of the 7 sultans. He went and studied under the other group that actually believes and teaches this and have whole books written about it and all that. He stole the idea from them, came to America, swindled some African Americans that pretty much used them for their own agenda. And 40 years later, we're still here. 40 years later, y'all same dudes that were like military, the rod, the security of the Dar al-Islam. You were like keeping things safe, protecting the Muslim community. You had this whole theme of like, for us, by us, we're going to not let foreigners lead us. But because you wanted power or status or whatever you wanted, you brought this fraud in. And now his wife, his child bride, that was one of y'all daughters, is now y'all leader.
So sad, man. I mean, that's how pathetic is that? Yo, you want to take over. You want power, but you are incapable. So you bring a rando in. You bring a random person in to vicariously get some sort of power through him. I mean, barf. How weak. How dumb. How sad do you have to be? The only thing sadder is still doing it after 40 years and knowing that it's BS. It being proven to you and still hanging on to you, that's the saddest thing.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for questions, right? We all good?
Yep.
I'm good to go.
All right. So just to close this out, I wanted to talk about names, and Muslim names. And this, like for instance, first of all, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Salatu Wassalamu ala Rasulullah. So as Muslims, we usually take a lot of confidence and pride in what our names are. And, especially those of us that maybe had non-Muslim names and we changed our name to Muslim names. Like for instance, my name is James Jimmy Griffin, which is, that name's fine. I could have kept it. I didn't have to change it, but my father also gave me a Muslim name of Jafar. And when you grow up and you start learning what your name means and who's had those names before, me personally and other people I've talked to, you try to actually live up to those names, right? Like Jafar particularly doesn't have any significant meaning, but I look to actually who had that name before me, which was Jafar ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The one that he had his arms chopped off holding up the banner in jihad, and he has wings in paradise. The one that was, talking to King Najashi and, defending Islam and reciting the ayats of Surah Maryam, that actually eventually led to the Najashi taking his shahada. So I try to live up to that a little bit as best I can. And that kind of forms a lot of, that in my upbringing about speaking up for the truth. Even no matter what circumstance you're in, even though it may hurt you. Like for instance, when Jafar was standing in front of the Najashi and his council, and Amr bin As was there trying to get them to be sent back, and they said, "Well, tell us what you believe about Jesus." And he recited the Quran. He could have easily been scared and said, "Oh, I'm not going to say this because they might not like what I say. They might not like the way that it's presented. They might not like it." But he said, "I'm going to say the truth, and I'm saying the Quran, and the Quran is going to be my defense. And whether it results in worldly harm to me or not, I'm still going to speak the truth." And if you look at that and you look at his ending where he's martyred and he's honored in paradise and he has wings, and you get that honor for standing up for what Islam is, right?
Your mic is off.
After you, Microsoft.
I can't hear you, Jafar, for the last 45
There we go.
seconds.
My bad. Okay, so if I wanted to talk about the name Aqil, which literally means knowledgeable, intelligent, wise. It comes from the root aql, which means to think, ponder, reflect, knowledge. And so Aqil, William Reed, live up to that name. Live up to that name. And it just so happens, I just talked about my name and the context of my name, being from Jafar ibn Abi Talib. He actually had a brother named Aqil. And Aqil, he didn't become Muslim for a while, until a few years before Rasulullah passed away. But it shows you that no matter how much time goes on, no matter what mistakes you made in the past, no matter how right you thought you were in the past, and no matter how old you are, you still have a chance while you are breathing to make decisions and make choices based off of your knowledge based off of your intelligence, based off of aql or aqil. As Allah says in the Holy Quran, He says, thus does Allah make clear to you His verses, that you might use reason, that you might use aql, ta'qilun. So aqil, we're begging you, not begging, pleading with you to use your aql, to use your courage, to recognize where you have went wrong. We have provided you with all the evidences and the proof. And for anybody that's on that same wrong path as aql, that are using their age or their arrogance or their status with other people or whatever they're using to stay on this path of falsehood or to prevent them from looking into the truth. Use your intelligence, use your reason. Allah mentions reasoning or aql or intelligence in the Quran 49 times. 49 times He's telling us to think. So just think. The worst case you can have by thinking and examining your beliefs, especially if someone's coming and telling you, we have been telling you for I don't know how long now, what you're doing and what you believe in is wrong. At least have the courage to step back and say, let me consider what they're saying. And if you still find that you are right, then you should have the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to prove to you why I'm right. I'm going to show you how you guys are wrong. Come tell us how we're wrong. Guide us. We want guidance. We actually look forward to when we're shown wrong, because it shows that we've increased our intelligence. And it shows that Allah is providing us guidance. It shows that we're getting closer and closer to the straight path to Allah. So again, look at your names, look at the meanings, try to live up to them, have courage, and use your intelligence. So that's all we have for today. Everybody have a good night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.